Yes, y'all. It's going down right now. Episode 58 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horrors coming at you live. I am your host, Moodz616. And of course, I've always got my real Mexican with me, JP, also known as Double J. And I'm proud to welcome back.
Nobody has ever called me Double J.
Did I say Double J?
Yeah.
The horophile Kyle is back in the house.
Yeah.
What is going on, boys?
What's up?
Kyle, glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, man. Excited to be back.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, last time you were on the show, you were on a very long journey through a pit of shit otherwise called the Children of the Corn franchise.
Yeah, COTC, man. That was like the worst endeavor I've ever encountered in my life. But I made it through it, and I survived, so...
I was actually kind of thinking to myself too. I'm like, he's never going to want to come back to this show. This is what the guys from 22 Shots do. Is they review entire franchises that take like fucking 4 days to do.
Yeah, it takes like 9 days to watch and then 4 days to record. And he should have a shirt that says like I survived 22 shots or something.
Yeah, I wanted to commit suicide after that episode.
You should have saw his face though, man.
Oh yeah, I have to give you props though to make it through that first episode, and actually willingly want to come back to is pretty awesome stuff, man. But yeah, so for episode 58, I'm pretty excited about this actually. We are doing a very, very early. Well, this film's obviously not out yet, and we were lucky enough to get some online screeners for this, and we are doing Tales of Halloween, and it's perfect timing, and I said it because it's kind of rip on JP. He didn't even realize that, it's the beginning of October and we're doing a Halloween themed film, to start off the month. And Tales of Halloween, brand new anthology, Halloween Anthology. Now, we've talked about this one many times on the podcast. It's kind of notorious, not really notorious, but it's been getting a lot of, press, and people have been talking about it because it's, 10 shorts by, 10 horror directors, which is kind of a cool idea, but it's also interwoven stories too in the, kind of like the vein of Trick or Treat. So very, very excited to get to that later in the show. You guys excited about that or what?
Yeah. And you know what else I'm excited about? October in general. Like everybody knows, it's so obvious that we're going to be fans of October, right? But everybody always posts like things that are like 31 more days till Halloween, or, like 500 days till, 200 days till Halloween or whatever. You know what I mean? And
500
the whole
days till
time
Halloween.
I'm just like, I don't even care. I fucked up. But the whole time I'm always like, I don't want it to be Halloween. I like the build up to Halloween, like the 30 days before Halloween. That's my time. Halloween itself I actually find kind of bittersweet, because it's finally here, but at the same time it's like it's finally gone too, or and I don't like that. I love October. October is my month. I love how every TV station does their own, Fear Fest or whatever. AMC announced their titles that they're going to be doing. Sci-Fi announced their titles. Fucking ABC announced their 13 Nights of Halloween or whatever. It's so cool.
I've always said October is best month of the year. It really is on so many different levels. There's so much going on in October. You have all the excitement of, the whole month of October building up to Halloween and stuff like that. But it's, it's everything, the month starts out, you got baseball playoffs, which if you're not a baseball fan, you suck, but baseball playoffs. But it's actually the only month where the four major sports are actually playing at one time, which is really cool. So if you're a sports fan, you got NBA, NFL, NHL, and of course MLB playoffs, which is really cool. And to start off the month, my birthday happens to be October 3rd, which is in like 2 days. So, that's, the greatest thing about October right there. But no, October is just a busy, busy month. I just look forward to it so much. And I love the weather. I love the fall. Like I've said before, I'm a summer guy, but I do like the fall because it's just nice and everything just goes together, You got sports, you got my birthday, you got good weather. It's wicked. It's a fun-filled month. It's an exciting month. So yeah, I love October.
In case you guys didn't get that, it also has Moodz's birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Kyle?
It's a weird birthday for me because like I'm turning 35 and I'm like no longer like in my early 30s. I'm like on the road to 40 and I'm like
yeah, you're pretty much
it's kind of a depressing. I know, man. It's like depressing. I'm like, shit. And like next year when I turn 36, it's going to be super depressing. I'm probably not going to be able to do the show all October. October's just going to be a terrible month for you. And then from there on, I'm just going to be like, October? Fuck October, man. It sucks.
It's like over the hill. Yeah. I'm like thinking about JP like in February, like October's coming up, like raising his hands up right now. But I don't know. October's cool. I mean, my brother's birthday's in October. I mean, October personally, like, I live in South Carolina, so it's like the weather is like perfect here, but at the same time, everybody gets sick. So it's like when the season changes, like when fall like comes into effect, it's like everybody immediately gets sick, but yet the weather is amazing. So I don't know. It's always like I always think about like great movies, great weather, and then everybody getting sick, and then JP like sitting here with his dick hanging out, like saying he can't wait till October in February. So it's all kind of weird, but I don't know.
Especially that dick part.
Yeah, except for the dick part, but yeah, it's a pretty amazing month.
Yeah, you know, the October to me, it's our day, man. It's our month. It's our month, and of course, the best thing about October is you get 22 shots. Full season swing usually is in effect in October, right? I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that is right. Yeah, because we get all lazy in the summertime, we take it off, and then September this year was a little hit and miss because we had certain things going on, and yeah, so October is coming back full force. But yeah, you're right though. October is 22 shots, full force ahead. So yeah.
Yeah, which is super cool. And of course, we have all these different 31 Days of Horror video reviews, and everybody's got their own different series they're doing, and people were even reviewing stuff on Facebook. And it's a time where everybody kind of just comes together and just completely oversaturates the market. But I like it.
I know, awesome. Right? I know I got up this morning, I looked on my feed, and I was like, oh, look at all these 31 Days of Horror. I'm like, you know what? That's fucking awesome, man. At least more people are getting into it and stuff. I mean, some older people that I used to watch do it aren't doing it anymore, but you got some of these newer cats that are stepping up and doing it. It's fun. It's cool, man. It was cool. I actually saw someone do the same film I did in day one, and I was like, there you go. It's thinking the same way.
He was like, film to that start bitch
31 days. Yeah. So, yeah.
You know what?
October.
Before we move on, I think that this is definitely of note, and we have to bring it to everyone's attention. Moodz did not do his gimmick at the intro of this show, and it really bugged me while we was doing the continued intro. He did not say of course I got my two little trick-or-treaters with me, anything like that. He just called me Double J, and he just totally bombed on the intro, and I just felt like we couldn't go on without at least mentioning that and saying a little word for it, and just kind of dwelling on the fact that Moodz just bombed.
Well, I didn't want to get pigeonholed. I didn't want to get oh, this is what he does every time he tries to be funny and he bombs every time. I'm like, well, you know what I'll do this time? I just will completely ignore the fact that I do those attempts at being funny and see if anyone notices.
I did.
But of fucking course you did. You noticed it, man. No, honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. I think is maybe you cut. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, man. Whatever. It's one of those things. I've been up since 6 a.m. I'm tired.
I was honestly a little offended.
Butt hurt.
Shit. Sometimes those things are never pre-planned either. I just say them. It just comes off the head, and I guess this time I just had a brain fart. Nothing came out.
Well,
so.
It is a little later than we normally record. It's around 12:30 a.m. right now for me.
Yeah,
this is about 8 hours later than we usually record. So
it's pretty late.
Yeah. This is 8 hours later. This is like a whole Children of the Corn franchise show later.
What time did we get over with that? I can't remember. We started at 5, and I think we got over at midnight or something. It was close.
We recorded for 7 hours on that show.
God, it was so rough.
Dude, it was
my ass was like swamp. It was just sweaty, and it was hurting. It was itching.
I slid off my. I know what you mean, man. I slid off my seat a couple times from how much ass sweat had accumulated in my pants. I slip and slide right off my fucking seat. And then there was a couple times you're like, what was that? And I'm like, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Fuck.
That's
my mic.
That's fucking Moodz changing his adult diaper in the middle of the show.
Yeah. And I
was so into it. I actually put a diaper on. And I'm just like, I'm letting everything go. I'm so focused on talking about these shitty films. I'm just going to, do my shit.
Dude,
my
I will
pants.
say this, like we literally, I don't think that, but I think we took one bathroom break throughout that whole show, and like I piss a lot, like I just go to the bathroom a lot, and like you guys did not take a piss but like once that entire show. I was
No,
like,
no, no,
what
no,
the
no.
fuck?
Dude, I'll tell you a little insider behind the scenes podcasting. We took pisses during that show. We just didn't get up.
What are you, a trucker? Like these are like truckers right here. You throw your piss jugs out the fucking door like Ricky's dad from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck yeah. That's exactly how it is. You know, that show's Canadian. That's actually how we do it up here, man. You know,
That's how they do it in America. So shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, we used to have this basement to ourselves. I know I've talked about it before, but I used to always hang out over my friend's house, and we'd always like drink in the basement, watch horror movies, do shit like that. And we wasn't allowed upstairs because his dad was always sleeping. Like, he didn't care that we drank, but he just hated that we went piss every, teenage kids go and piss every 10 seconds. So we had to just piss in jugs. And like, after, it was so fucking nasty because there would be like 8 2-liters filled with piss in the basement that we had to deal with the next day.
That's disgusting.
Gross. That's so disgusting, man.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I had a
Fucking
friend
gag me
that
thinking about that.
I had a friend that dipped, and like he would like fill like a 2-liter bottle up with dip spit, and it was like the nastiest thing ever. And I was like, dude, you're disgusting.
I was doing
like,
that at like 14.
That's disgusting.
I know, that shit's so fucking gross.
Ugh.
My favorite is when someone's doing that at a party and there's cans everywhere and some fucking dipshit grabs that can and drinks out of it.
Oh, I seen a dude almost kill somebody over that, man.
Oh,
Fuck, everyone has seen someone do that, and it fucking, oh my god, it's the grossest shit ever,
so
man.
funny though.
He's like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. And he was like, man, I didn't know. He's like, I'm gonna just kill you. He's like, go outside. He's like, I respect Teresa. I ain't gonna fight you in here, but go outside.
I couldn't imagine tasting dip spit. Like I couldn't imagine what the taste would be.
There's no taste. It's slime. Just complete slime. Just warm, nasty. I did it to myself before.
So horrible.
Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad.
You don't actually, and very few times will you actually swallow it. I can't see that happening all the time because as soon as it touches your lips, something's wrong.
Oh yeah, you know that texture, man.
That's exactly what she said. You know that, right?
Fucking right. Shit. Gross. Alrighty, man. JP, do we got some news this week?
We have some news. It is not very much news this week. It's pretty low key. First up, Screamfest. They kind of announced their lineup. For those of you who don't know what Screamfest is, it is kind of the longest running horror festival, screening mostly all genre films. And it's in its 15th year. And for its 15th year, it's a 10-day festival, October 13th to October 22nd in Hollywood. And the one thing of note, at least the main thing of note, is that the Martyrs remake is going to be screening there. So we'll see our first little flux of Martyrs reviews coming out pretty soon this month. We'll see what people say about it. Because that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, not stoked on that.
I mean, as much as we talked about this in the past and how I was like, it's such an unnecessary remake, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually curious to watch it just out of sheer curiosity. I want to see what they do with it. If they actually make, if they remake Martyrs, like fully remake it, or they just reimagine it or reincarnate it or re-fuck off with those, my thoughts on words. But I'm curious to see what they do. Yeah, I'm just, it's sheer, it's sheer curiosity, like I want to see if they try to, be really extreme with it and fail miserably, or actually make like a decent, reimagination of that story. I don't know. Curiosity always gets the best of me.
I have some really strong opinions about that, man. Like I feel like the Martyrs remake is going to end up like if they made a remake of Scream. Like I feel like Martyrs, it wasn't like the best movie ever originally when it came out, but at the same time, I feel like it redefined the disturbing movies kind of genre. Like I think everybody was like, "Oh, this is a disturbing movie. This is like what a disturbing movie should be" when it first came out. And I feel like when it's gonna come out and they're gonna remake it in the United States, it's just gonna be they're gonna cut everything. Like, I mean, I think Dimension's releasing it. I mean, did they say who the release company was, JP?
Blumhouse.
Okay,
Blumhouse
yeah,
is the releasing company.
that probably won't be that great. I
The
mean,
same company that picked up the Green Inferno.
Green Inferno, yeah, and I don't want to like go into the Green Inferno right now, but the Green Inferno was I like the Green Inferno, but it wasn't as I'll never mind. I don't want to talk about it right now.
All right.
So, but anyway, the Martyrs remake should be, who knows? It's like Mood said. I'm curious about it, but at the same time, it could really, really bomb and ruin that whole entire franchise or whatever you want to call it. So who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I've always had really strong opinions about that statement. To be honest, though, too, it's like, I never feel that like when a remake comes out can ever hurt original anything. Some people, like, we've had this argument before and stuff. And I remember I was watching the video one time and I just got like angry watching it. And this dude was talking about, I think it was actually when they were remaking, or redoing, whatever you want to call it, the Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. And this guy was fucking livid. He was just livid. And he's like, this shit is fucking, or was it right when it came out, he'd watch it and he's like, yeah, he fucking hated it or whatever. And he was just going off about it. And he's like, yeah, this ruins the whole franchise and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't understand how this movie can ruin the original Evil Dead. Like, when you really think about what you're saying there, it's like, okay, this is a completely different piece of visuals than just remove it from yourself.
I think
it doesn't take away from the original film. I mean, I fucking love the Evil Dead. I'm not a big fan of the remake. Like, I don't hate the movie at all. I have issues with it. I did enjoy it for what it was, but I mean, I wouldn't go out and say, man, I fucking, that ruins the entire franchise. I can't watch Army of Darkness anymore because that remake sucked. It's like, but this guy was going off on a tangent. He was just like fucking letting it go. And I was like, he's like, I hate this thing and blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck. Like, holy shit. I'll just never forget it because he was just really going off on it. And I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I can probably as much as I was against, like, Dawn of the Dead being my favorite film, when they announced the remake, of course I was like, you know what? Fuck, and this is the early 2000s and I'm going, I don't know. I had a lot of different opinions back then. I was kind of the same way. I was like, I'm going to fucking hate this movie. And I didn't, I just kind of like saw it and I was like, whatever. It's not really changing or doing anything for me or taking anything away from the original film. I just take the remake and these type of things for what they are. And just I separate that from the original completely, and I try not to compare. And I just kind of take it for what it is, and I think about it after. It's like
I think it is what it is to me. When I think about it, and I agree with you 100%. I guess I can retract that statement about ruining a franchise. Like when I say ruining, I always think about people that don't see the original seeing these remakes, and I feel like the people are missing out. Like if the remake isn't as good, or you're taking it as like a separate movie, but I feel like if they're not watching the original, they may be missing out. Like I feel like Martyrs, I don't feel like the remake probably could be as great. I mean, I could be wrong, maybe not as great as the original, but if they don't see the original, I feel like they're missing out on things. Like, dude, the shotgun scene in Martyrs was so fucked up. Like it was such a very, for me, when I first saw it, it was very, it hit me. I was like, wow, that's a really strong scene. Obviously, I don't feel like any American remake can really have that kind of scene. I mean, it possibly could, but it's just one of those things where it's like, who knows? But at the same time, I agree with you what you're saying about the Dawn of the Dead remake. I wanted the Dawn of the Dead remake. I think it came out in 2001, a long, long time ago. And I was like, this is going to probably suck. I watched it, and I absolutely love it. I still watch it to this day.
I think it came out in 2004, actually.
Or four, yeah. It came out around the early 2000s, and it was actually a really good remake. I mean, the zombies were a little different; they ran, but at the same time, it stuck to the storyline. It stuck to the the original. The cast was great. The storyline was on par. I mean, it wasn't that bad. So who knows with these things? It could be up and down. So
I would like to comment on this a little bit because I'm definitely along the lines of Moodz. And I've said it many times as well, like, I don't feel any film can ruin the original. However, I will say that I do think that bad sequels, bad remakes can water down a franchise. It can make the franchise less. You know what I mean? Look at the Hellraiser franchise, right? First 3 films, pretty damn solid. Nobody, if you cut it right there, and that would be a solid franchise. But then you have, the Hellraiser franchise is kind of known as a joke, because there's so many bad films in there. So yeah, definitely it can water down it'll never take away from those original films. Like, everybody still loves Hellraiser as much as they ever would if those films never existed. You know what I mean? So it ain't gonna hurt the original film, but it can make the franchise less. The only case where I feel like a film actually ruined another film for me was Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. I liked Bride of Chucky. I seen Seed of Chucky, and I hated it so much that when I watched Bride of Chucky afterwards, I saw all those like cues for the way that it was going, and it made me notice the film in kind of a different way, and it actually did affect the way that I seen it. But that's a rare circumstance, so I 100% agree with both of you guys. And as what Kyle said about the, you want people to know about the original. That's just one of those things, like, if we see a really good film that nobody else has seen, it's Tom Horsball came up with the term, or at least, made it popular, a rooftop film, which is where you want to yell to your neighbors, like, this is a great independent horror film or a great horror film or whatever. That is sort of a similar thing where you want just like you would want somebody to know about a great film, you want them to know about the original, because it's just like, how good it is, and it's like you just feel like I want to share it. I want them to know too. So I understand when remakes come out, sometimes these people see it, they never see the original, and it's a selfish thing. You just want them to know. But
I think a good example of this is the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Like, I want you to think how many youths at the time went and saw that movie and never saw any of the original movies, and that's their perception of Nightmare on Elm Street, is what they saw in that remake. That's a really good example of they're not getting the full effect of, they're seeing this, but they're missing out on all of this. And I think that's kind of what I was meaning by ruining the franchise. It's ruining the franchise for the youth that are going out and seeing these horrible, which, I mean, I'm sure both of you guys...
It's ruining the experience of
that.
Yeah, because first impressions sometimes can live so strong with you, right? You're like, when you see something, like, it's like a nostalgia thing, a lot of stuff you watch back in the day is like, you loved it and you still love it because of that reason, but it's not great, but you love it for what it is. And, the time you watch it and stuff, it's just like the Nightmare on Elm Street remakes. A lot of these kids, if they loved it right now and they went, years later, they go and see the original and like, well, the original is good and stuff, but, they already had this connection with the remake. It's all in when you see shit, and I've had this argument with certain people too. Like, I won't, mention any names here, but for some weird reason, this movie always seems to get brought up, but it's Return of the Living Dead. And I remember this one specific person I was talking to, and it's not Zach, so fuck off, Zach. I'm not talking about you. But I was talking to this one guy, and he's like, I fucking, he just saw the film for the first time like a couple years ago, and he's like, oh, that movie's crap. It's like totally shitty and stuff. And he's like, why do you like it so much? Because you watched it back in the days. Is it like just nostalgia and stuff? And I'm like, well, probably a little bit, but I mean, I actually legitimately love that movie though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but maybe and I tried to explain to him, I was like, maybe it's because you saw it so much later in your life that it just doesn't have the same effect.
There's
and I'm like,
films
I think there's certain movies. I think there is certain films that if you see later in your life, you kind of missed out on maybe how much more of an effect it would have had on you if you had seen it maybe in the time it came out or when you were younger or whatever, and he's just like, no, it's shitty
for me.
Exactly.
I like Monster Squad, but I know that I would have loved it if I had seen it when I was a kid.
You know what, JP? That's a great example of a film that I think if you saw it for the first time, like tomorrow, as like a 35-year-old, you'd be like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I seen it in my late teens, and I was like, it was all right. Like, I don't see what the big...
Yeah.
And then I kind of realized afterwards that, it's a great movie. It's like, I missed it.
Exactly. And that's why I mean, I love the Monster Squad. It's like one of my favorite movies. But, it's one of those things. I seen it when it first came out. It always has that place with me. Yeah. So... I don't know. So going back to Nightmare on Elm Street, I think that's what it is, man. It sucks, man. If you see those type of movies first, and then you're like, okay, I mean,
it's a perception thing, is what it is. It's like it all totally perception. Is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it really is.
Well, that little piece of news ended up in a big discussion, but it's not even done yet. The rest of the festival is like tons of movies, both old, like Feast. I believe it's like the 10-year anniversary for Feast, which is fucking crazy if you think about it.
Pretty damn crazy.
And they have, I think Phase 4 is playing, and they're bookending with, and the opening night is Tales of Halloween, which we're reviewing tonight, and it's ending with the world premiere of Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, which makes sense for this festival considering it was the first festival to debut the original Paranormal Activity. So it's kind of like a callback type thing, which is neat,
I saw the preview for that before the Green Inferno, and I was not impressed by the preview. I don't know. Maybe it's a good movie.
I don't think anybody's ever impressed with the previews to this.
I mean, some people are. Some people like the Paranormal. I mean, younger generation like that kind of movie, but I just was not like when I saw it. I thought it was a joke. I was just like, wow, this is kind of stupid. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Maybe one day we'll get to that. But next, we got to talk about some more news. This is a little Twin Peaks update. So apparently. A few more. It was like announced that some of the cast could be returning. I mean, it's been ongoing type thing, but the big news came with this press release that I think they started filming, but David Lynch is expecting to shoot the series continuously as a movie and then later cut it into episodes instead of doing how a typical series would be shot, where it's like they, this week they'll go and do, where they do episodes at a time. He's just gonna shoot it all, the whole season at once.
Fucking David Lynch, man.
I know, right?
He hasn't made a movie. He hasn't made a movie in over 10 years, and then he goes and he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna fucking shoot a whole season as one big movie and then just cut it up."
But you think that adds like a different dynamic to it or something?
It might be. Who knows? I mean, it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, man, I can't really say what I'm thinking right now because it's David Lynch. You just don't know what you're going to get. I don't know. I just don't know.
I've never watched Twin Peaks, but my friend just watched the first season, and we watched like one episode together, and it was actually something like it reminded me so much of the X-Files. I was like, wow, like this is such a David Lynch. Like seeing Eraserhead. And then watching that one episode, I was like, this is definitely David Lynch. Like, you could just tell by watching one episode of that show that it's David Lynch. It's so crazy. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So after that, we have Rings, the digital copy killer ghost kid. So a little update on that. Bloody Disgusting kind of noticed that Bloody Disgusting noticed that the film had a release date of November 13th. Yet there's no trailer or anything. So they reached out to, I believe, Paramount. And they said, yeah, we switched the date. It's now coming out in 2016. I guess they kind of ran into some issues. It was originally going to be a direct sequel to The Ring 2. But due to Naomi Watts not signing on, they kind of are kind of reworking things and making it more of like a sequel / prequel where they kind of tell the origin story of, I guess, what's her name? Samara? Or whatever the little ghost girl's name is. So, little update on the killer digital copy film Rings.
I still think that shit was funny as hell. Probably one of the hardest times I ever laughed on this show, man.
for those of you who don't know, it's not a digital copy. Or it could be. It could. But
fucking. I have to admit though, that post that someone made about our stupid ideas, that fucking made me laugh so hard, man. Like, which is a worst idea, the digital copy killer or the the purge on a boat?
Yeah, both terrible ideas.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that on the page.
Fucking so funny. Oh shit.
So after that, we have this is just kind of a cool thing. Zach actually pointed this out to me. The El Rey Network, which I've talked about a few times. I talked about when it launched, before it launched. Talked a little bit about the shows and the movies that would be on there. Well, they just kind of stepped their game up once again and added a bunch of new shows to their lineup. These are all licensed shows, so they're already done airing, that they're going to air reruns on the El Rey Network now. So they have a few. They have Constantine, which will be making its debut in November. Then you have Almost Human, which will also make its debut in November. Then you have Human Target, which I'm not sure what that is. Then you have Mortal Kombat Conquest, which I remember from being a kid. I think that show ran 2 seasons, but it's a live action Mortal Kombat TV show. Then you have the V miniseries and V the series, which I'm not familiar with, but I think Robert Englund had a part in the original miniseries. Then Night Visions, which is an anthology show similar to The Twilight Zone. Then you have the Twilight Zone 2002 series, which not many people like, but probably the coolest thing, and this used to air on the Chiller Network, so I did see a few episodes on there, but they're bringing back Freddy's Nightmares and airing all those reruns as well. So El Rey Network will be airing Freddy's Nightmares, which I believe lasted 2 seasons, but I think they're a little lengthy seasons. And that's pretty cool, you know? Those of you who don't know, Freddy's Nightmares was an anthology TV show, bookended with Freddy as your Crypt Keeper style storyteller. And usually, he just showed up, did some wacky shit, because this is when Freddy was all funny and shit. And then the story would be told, and these stories were fucking batshit weird. I know me and Moodz watched a couple of them in preparation for an old show we did on the burial grounds. But man, dude, some of those Freddy's Nightmare shows are weird. And what's cool is the first pilot episode is an origin story on Freddy, which is actually kind of cool. It was directed by Tobe Hooper, and it's literally like it's like a prequel to Nightmare on Elm Street, and I think it's like a 40-minute episode. So I mean, it's almost like an Elm Street movie. It's kind of cool. That really needs a DVD release, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, it does, man. Fucking those. Yeah, I can't remember how many I watched. Like the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I remember us talking, we're going, what the fuck is with this show, man?
Yeah.
It's so strange,
man. A lot of familiar
directors
and actresses, like Laura Park Lincoln, and, you know, all these people from Friday the 13th and Elm Street, and, like, just all these movies all these actors and actresses that never really went on to do anything else, but they're familiar faces to horror fans. And, you know, it's just one of those shows that, like, I would love for it to come out and actually delve into it and watch it from beginning to end, because I believe there's 5 or 6 episodes that are Freddy based, like that revolve around storylines having to do with Freddy. So it's like more Elm Street that like really nobody's got to see. I mean, some people have seen it, but there's a high percentage of horror fans that probably have never really got a chance to mess with that. But it'll be on the El Rey Network for those of you who have that. You can check that out when it comes in 2015, I believe, at the end of the year.
Sweet.
So a little bit of news that I thought I would point out, although this is not really like anything that directly relates to me personally, I thought that I would just share it for maybe some of the foreign listeners that we have, or people who like to import moods. So Goosebumps, and this is funny because I just mentioned on the Facebook group that this needed a box set, but Australia will be releasing the full 12-disc complete series, I believe 3 or 4 seasons, all in one box set of the 90s television show Goosebumps. It's going to be region 4. It's currently priced at 89 odd, which what's the Australian dollar?
High, very, very high.
It's actually only 63 US dollars. So it's actually less. 89 Australian dollars, 63 US dollars.
That's very odd.
Yeah.
You know, there was a box set released in the UK too, the whole complete Goosebumps too, eh?
I think that was Tales from the Crypt, or Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did they do Goosebumps?
No, it's got to be Goosebumps, because you can only get Goosebumps here in as a bootleg.
No, you can get Goosebumps
here in the United States.
Yeah.
It's
just not in a box set. They're all released individually. It's not really individually. It's like on the cover it'll be like The Blob That Ate Everyone, but there'll actually be like 3 or 4 episodes on the disc. It's really annoying how they release those. I think that's Warner Brothers. They really fucked the pooch on those.
Yeah, those are super annoying. Yeah, but there is a box set out of the UK that's the complete series also. I've seen people show it off before. It's kind of cool looking. Yeah. It's got like a black cover and it just says Goosebumps. It's pretty basic looking, but I've seen a few people show it off, and I think that one goes for, I think it was like £30 or something like that. So roughly about what you'd be paying for the Australian one, I believe. 30 or £40. So.
That's cool. There's a lot of good episodes on there. Like I remember as a kid. I mean, obviously, Are You Afraid of the Dark is a much better show. It's creepier. It's more adult, even though it's still a kid's show. But Goosebumps is like that, you know, young, like 6-year-old capable of watching stuff. And I used to come home every day from like kindergarten and sit down and watch Power Rangers and Goosebumps, and that was my shit. So it's very nostalgic for me. I would love to eventually have some sort of set. I actually own 1 episode on DVD. But yep, that's for you Aussies out there. Next up, and finally for the news, told you it was a short week, guys. Maniac Cop is being remade. So this has been in the work, at least it's been talked about for a very long time, and it's finally happening. The director will be the guy who directed Universal Soldier Regeneration and Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning. His name is John Hames, and he will be shooting the film in spring of 2016 in New York City, and according to the site that published the article, it will have a budget between $5 and $6 million, which seems like quite a bit to me.
Seems like quite a bit for a movie that was like very cheesy in that, like, you know, very cheesy 80s movie. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it's 5 and 6 million, it might actually be a good remake. Who knows? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the director's only done action films?
I'm not really sure. I that's just what the article published. Universal Soldier, 2 of them. So I don't know if he did anything else. But he did say, I'm a huge admirer of both producers, and I'd been looking to do something that bridges the gap between action and horror like this. The script is able to reinvent the original with the same mythology. We had thought about shooting in fall, but decided on spring to give ourselves enough time to get the best cast and crew.
I hope Bruce Campbell makes an appearance.
That'd be cool to see Campbell get a cameo.
So does Lustig have anything to do with this at all?
I'm sure he's producing, because doesn't he? I think he was the one that was like, back in the day, he was like, yeah, I want to remake the Maniac Cop and Maniac, and he produced the Maniac remake, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So
and that's pretty much why I was asking if he had anything to do with this.
That's correct, because you know as well as I know, Moodz, the Maniac film was great, and it made it both of our #1 of 2013. So if it's handled correctly, Maniac Cop could be a pretty fucking good remake, but it could also be a bad remake.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, the guy not having any, horror experience, but, sounds ambitious though. At least he's got the action. I don't know, man. I mean, Maniac is a great example of a film, once again, that I remember how much we talked about this when it first got announced. I was like, this is gonna be shit. Like, just based on the cast, and I wasn't giving it a fair chance, because Maniac is like my 3rd favorite film of all time. It's my favorite, slasher film, whatever you want to call it. But I love Maniac. I love the original film. I love Joe Spinell. I love Lustig. Everything about that film is just awesome to me, and I just wasn't willing to give that one a chance. And then they just kind of reimagined it, is what they did. And it was just so good. And, I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better. It was just so surprisingly good. Great soundtrack, just great cinematography. But, who knows? I mean, Maniac Cop is completely different. It's an easier movie to fuck up, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because if you're blending action and horror, I think it's a completely different thing. I think with Maniac, you can really get very artsy with it, like they did in the remake.
Yeah,
it got very artsy, and it worked though. They good musical cues, great point of view and shots. But this one, yeah, you can fuck it up pretty easy.
I feel like
some really bad action.
It's a lot less serious though than Maniac. That's why I feel like they can fuck it up easier. You know what I mean? Like Maniac, the original, was like kind of like a serious like slasher movie. Like, you got this killer that is kind of a psycho at the same time. But like Maniac Cop's just kind of like a cheesy 80s movie. Like, it's one of those. When I think about Maniac Cop, I think about one of those made for TV or made for Showtime movies. Like, that's just like kind of like that's the perfect thing for it, though. It's like the vibe that it gives off makes it what it is. But like, it's gonna be kind of hard to like make that into something else. Like, I don't know.
I'm with you a little bit. I do think I think the biggest challenge, and I've said this many, many times, the reason I like films like Maniac and Maniac Cop is that New York setting, that sleazy, dirty, grimy, filthy, disgusting setting that doesn't exist anymore. You can try to recreate it, and I haven't really seen it done very successfully, but it is possible. And that's what I feel like would hinge on me, liking or loving or, hating this movie, because to me that is Maniac Cop to me. Like, it has a lot to do with that just New York scene of the time, which 70s, 80s, and early 90s had that New York, and it doesn't look that way anymore. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I think we actually talked about this once before too, when I think that there was a rumor going around that they were going to remake Chud also, and I think we got on the same topic of the remake of Chud would be interesting because what makes Chud so effective is its setting, and it's that gritty, grimy New York disgusting setting that seems to work.
Something that like comes to mind with like that gritty New York setting is Home Alone 2. I know
Yeah,
that's kind of like off topic.
That
Has like the
setting.
most
Yeah.
gritty New York setting ever because like everywhere that like Kevin McAllister goes in that movie is like shitty New York setting. Like
Yeah.
the places he goes and stays with his dad's money, like everywhere else where like his uncle lives and everything, it's like in the shitty setting of New York. And like that makes the movie. So that like it's perfect example there.
Yep. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye out. We'll see what it does. I mean, Maniac did a good job of it didn't capture that feel, but it captured a different feel, which I thought was a great substitute.
True that. Yeah.
So that is
So we
it
don't
for
have
the news.
That's it, eh? Cool.
Hey.
Yeah, eh? Well, moving along into Moodz Swingz and the DVD and Blu-ray releases for October 6th, 2015. October's busy, man. Real busy. I mean, it makes sense because there was like nothing being released in the last couple weeks of September. So, first up for all you American Horror Story fans, we've got, I guess this is season 5. Freak Show is season 5.
4
JP?
has to be 4 because
4. Is it?
you have the original one, and then you have Asylum, then you have Coven, then you have Freak Show.
Okay, yeah. So that's right. Coming out, obviously on DVD and Blu-ray. Haven't really heard much about Freak Show. Maybe the show's dying off a little bit, but I kept hearing a lot of things about the first 3 seasons, and I didn't really hear anything about Freak Show. So maybe people lost interest, or just I wasn't watching the right video. I don't know.
5th
But who knows?
season's coming. It's in a hotel, which they keep hitting all these like great settings. It's funny.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Next up here is a film I don't know anything about, man, like at all. I want to say maybe it's a French film. Yeah, it is actually a French film released by Doppelganger Releasing. You think that's true? Fucking Amazon making shit up again.
Amazon loves making shit up.
Doppelganger.
Yeah. This one right here is called Alirura. I can't say the fucking word. I'm assuming that's someone's name. Aliyura. I don't know. I'm assuming it's some type of French name. Sorry, it sounds like the total art there, but I don't know. JP, you want to take a stab at that? How do you pronounce that?
I have no idea. I don't have the page open today.
Aliyura? I want to say maybe it's Aliyura. That's probably how it's pronounced, but yeah, it's a French film. Don't know anything about it. I don't even know
Where
if
the
it's new
fuck's
or old.
Jeremy when you need him?
Yeah, Aliyura. That's probably what it is, but anyways. It is what it is. It's a French film, so I'm sure JP will be riding the cock of that DVD. So, what do we got next here? We've got another Macabre release. Actually, man, Macabre has been quiet lately, eh?
Yeah. Well, I think that they're slowly moving away from that because I still got press releases from the company that owns Macabre, but it seems like they announce films, but they're not under that label anymore. So I don't know if they're kind of done with that label or what.
This one's called Amnesiac. It's got Kate Bosworth in it. Don't know much about it, but yeah, I was just surprised to see one on here. I hadn't seen one in a long time. So, next up here from who's releasing this one? Olive is I don't know. 1976, awesome classic film, man. Burnt Offerings. Love this movie.
I think that's
Great
Kino.
stuff. Yeah, is it Kino? Yeah, that's right. Kino is releasing Burnt Offerings. Love this film. Not really too. I don't know if I'm very stoked on the cover art, though, to be honest. It's okay. I guess I just don't like the way they wrote Burnt Offerings on this. I like the background, but I don't know. Kino's, yeah. Next up here from Artsploitation is Children of the Night. And I believe this is like an Argentina vampire film.
Yep.
I know we were kind of talking about this one a little bit. I think it says, it doesn't actually show it on the cover, but it says something about Twilight meets what was the tagline on that, JP?
Fuck,
It
what
was
was
like
it? Twilight meets something.
Twilight meets something, and we were like, oh, for fuck's sakes, here we go.
Yeah,
You
there
know, but you
was
can never take
one.
those things too serious. It's like, who
You know what?
knows?
The Thompsons, which was the pseudo sequel to the Hamiltons, had a quote on it
Yeah.
that was, and talking about Macabre. Actually, this was a Macabre release. It had Twilight meets Tarantino on the cover, so I'm sure that it can't be as bad as that one, can it?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
Really? Meets Tarantino?
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Next up here, we got another Blu-ray release of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and there's two different versions of it. There's one Supreme Cinema series.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
that
like a limited
4K
edition.
one that we had that long conversation about back on the news.
That's right, and it comes in a special clear case too. So yeah, that's the 4K transfer in the clear case. It's limited apparently, and you can get the standard edition too. So they're re-releasing a standard edition too, because this has already been re-released. So I'm imagining it's like a maybe like a new transfer. I'm assuming.
Well,
On
it's
this one,
probably
too.
a scaled down version of that 4K one. I don't know. I honestly don't know how that shit works. So don't just move on.
I know it is a little confusing, isn't it? This one right here, I was like, where the fuck does these movies come from? Released by Lionsgate. It's called Dark Places. This one's got Charlize Theron in it, and I was like, really? Like
Dark
and then that
Places.
Jolie Grace Moritz. Yeah, I'm like, okay.
The movie takes
Charlize
place
Theron's-
between somebody's legs.
in the dark places. Yeah, next up here is a film called Final Girl, and I don't know, man. I was reading a little bit on this, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this one a shot. I ordered this one because I'm stupid. The cover art's actually not even good at all, but I don't know. It's just got some chick holding an axe with a couple guys on the cover. I'm like, whatever. It was super cheap, but Final Girl, yeah. I'm really stoked about this though, man. The Hammer Horror Classics. I actually did order this too, man. The four film box set. I didn't go for the solo releases because they were like all $20 or whatever a piece, and this box set was like like 30 or something for all four. And it's pretty much kind of similar to the Universal Monsters box set. So this one comes with the Mummy, Dracula's Risen from the Grave, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, and the taste of blood of Dracula. Fuck.
Yeah, isn't this volume
those
one? Don't they plan on doing more
So this is
volumes?
Yeah, so this is volume one with those four films. You can get them on separate editions, but generally, I'm known as I gotta go and get my separates. But I like these type of box sets. I actually saw the inside of it. It looks okay. It's got those kind of those slip side things, little cardboard thing. They're okay though. It's very similar to the Universal Monsters one.
Has Risen from the Grave actually made both me and Moods' top 10 of 1968.
It did. And actually, all these movies are good, man. All four of these movies are good. So, I mean, if you like the Hammer stuff and you're not, or even if you're not even familiar with it, check out this box set. Give you, a little bit of a heads up on them. So, and like I said, you can get those on single editions. Next up here is Insidious 3 is coming out.
Oh, shit.
I'm actually really excited to watch this.
Me too.
Heard a little bit here and there. I remember I kept saying I wasn't really overly that stoked for Insidious 2, and it took me forever to watch Insidious 2, man. I kept putting it off, and I fucking loved it. And I know that movie gets a lot of mixed, kind of opinions and reviews and stuff, but I personally really liked Insidious 2, man. I thought it was great.
It's the same fucking
was
movie as
really-
the first one, so if people like the first one and they don't like the second one, they're insane.
It is, but I find this one has a little more depth to it, if it makes any more sense. I just found the way they structured this film, it just felt so good. Like everything was just adding up so well in it. And it was just, I don't know. I heard one person talk about it and they're like, yeah, it's a little hard to follow here and there. I'm like, well, it is if you're fucking, looking away and not paying attention. It's like any type film, but I found Insidious 2 to be very enjoyable.
It was one of my
really
most
good.
disappointing of last year. And it's
Yeah,
not
I thought it
based on the film. All right. 100% trailer ruined that movie for me. And I even said it in my review. I was like, everything was in the trailer. Everything. So that was the film that made me stop watching trailers. And I haven't really watched any since then.
That's right.
I'll say something. Insidious 3 really was not that bad. I went and saw it with my mom because she really wanted to see it, and it really wasn't.
Aww.
I mean, I know, right? It's kind of like, yeah, it's very sweet of me. But yeah, like she wanted to see it, so I went with her to the theater and saw it, and she thought it was like super scary. I didn't think it was that scary, but it followed along with the other two pretty well.
That's good.
And yeah, I'll tell you a movie that ruined the trailer, and the movie got ruined. Like the trailer ruined the movie was The Martian. The new movie that just came out with Matt Damon. That movie, the trailer shows everything that happens in the movie. Pretty much ruins the entire.
Can't watch trailers, dude. Gotta quit. Cut it out
bad.
of your life. Me and Moodz have cut it out of our life. It's like smoking or heroin. You just gotta cut it out, dude.
Yeah, I
Can't
got
be
to.
doing that. It'll bring you down. It doesn't lead to any positive.
Depressing,
things.
man. It's very depressing, man.
It is.
You go pay $20 to see a movie with you and somebody else.
Exactly.
It's
Just like you go pay
person.
$20 for that heroin, and then it's gone, and you're like, what? That was it?
You pay $20 for those penis pills that you fucking always buy.
Penis pills. Okay. Next up here from Magnet is a film called Last Shift. I believe, this one is getting a release from Magnet in the US. I think it's being released by Anchor Bay in Canada. I'm pretty sure this is being released in Canada through Anchor Bay. So, I don't know. It sounds really cool though, man. I think it sounds awesome. Looking forward to that one. Another one here from Anchor Bay is a film called Navy SEALs vs. Zombies. Really don't have any interest in this.
Freaking retarded.
It was on the press release, and I was like, I'm not even requesting this, man, at all. There's not a fucking chance. I'm like, I just had no interest, and I was like, skip.
Yeah,
Like,
you want me to
no
watch
way.
that movie on top of watching 31 horror films a day,
know,
on
it's
top
just-
of doing body bags reviews, on top of doing the podcast? Like,
They're
you're nuts.
They're really
No,
pushing the
I'm
limit
just
with these
not
zombie movies, man. What
I'm
the
just
hell?
not doing that.
I'm just tired
not
of the
doing that.
zombie versus this, or zombie
yeah, I know,
versus
man.
that.
Frankenstein
Ugh.
I
versus
fucking-
zombies. Like, what the fuck?
Scouts versus
I said the
zombies,
same thing.
cockers
I'm like, how
versus
many
zombies.
verses can you? I know how many verses can you fucking do, man? It's ridiculous. Next up is a film called Nocturna. Obviously a vampire film. Looks really, really bad. Don't really have much hopes for that one. God, the cover art's horrible on that film. It's so bad. It's so bad. For some more TV horror related stuff here, we got Penny Dreadful, the complete second season. I heard really good things about the first season. Did you happen to check out at all, Kyle?
I haven't checked out Penny Dreadful, but isn't Josh Hartnett in that? The dude from 30 Days a Night?
Yes, he is.
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah.
Me and Zach were talking about 30 Days a Night on the page the other day, and I actually like him as an actor. Like we were
I
talking
do
about,
too.
like how he fell off the map after 30 Days a Night. And then Zach reminded me he was in that show, and I was like, well, I should probably check it out if he's in it because I actually like him as an actor. I think he's pretty good. So
Listen, dude, 30 Days a Night, The Faculty, H2O. What's wrong with any of those films? I know Moods don't love H2O, but it's not a terrible movie. Like,
his
Well,
acting,
remember
the movie doesn't
remember
have
how
anything
much
to do
I-
with his acting.
Well, remember how much I actually said I thought that he was terrible in that film? Remember in our review?
yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Josh Hartnett. I was like, I wasn't buying him for a second, but whatever. I mean, that's the thing.
I mean, they're
some
all
people like
terrible,
Keanu
though, dude.
Reeves,
Like,
other people's don't.
All of those Halloween actresses and actors are terrible. Like, all the secondary characters and shit.
Buster
throughout the
Rhymes,
series.
man. Buster Rhymes, dude.
Oh God, so bad, so bad. Yeah, Penny Dreadful. Sounds actually pretty intriguing.
I've heard
I haven't-
nothing but good things about that show.
Yeah, me
Nothing
too, man.
good
So,
things.
next up, we got Sharknado 3.
Wow.
Of course, man. Fuck, man. I
Oh,
mean,
hell no.
Tara Reid.
as much as I everyone knows, man, that either watches me or listens to me, whatever. They know how much I love my shitty shark films. I have nothing but love for Sharknado films. They're so bad. They're amazing to watch. They are the
Episode 70
epitome of
Sharknado
just-
Trilogy, go!
Oh, fuck, man. It's so unbelievable, like how bad they are, but they are so entertaining. They're just, the time just fucking flies when you're watching them. You can't help but laugh. You just drink some beers, and I mean, it's fucking Ian Ziering, it's like, and Tara Reid. It's like, this is the most work they're ever gonna get. They're gonna make Sharknado 7, and they're gonna be like, well, we just did 7 films in like 6 months.
Yeah,
good for us. Good
I
for our
have the
careers.
first 2, so I'll probably pick up the third one and haven't watched it.
Oh, these things are always cheap too. They're always going for like $10.
They're
or
like
something.
$3 at Kmart right now, all of them, except the third one. The first two are $3 a piece.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Next up here from Scream Factory and IFC is The Stranger, which is an Eli Roth Presents film. I don't really know much about this one, but I love the cover art on this, and it just, well, it's Scream Factory, IFC, so I'm always intrigued. But
I've heard it's really, really good. That's all I've heard about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. Because these Scream Factory or just IFC in general can be very hit miss. I mean, I know me and JP have found that out like many times. They're really there seems to be no medium with these, or like good or bad. I don't know. It's really strange. But another film I actually ordered today is Tremors 5 Bloodlines.
Shit,
God,
I want to do
Jamie Kennedy.
The fucking Blu-ray was like $12 and the DVD was like fucking $20. I was like,
I love
what is going on with
Tremors. I fucking love Tremors. I love those films. I want to do a Tremors show one day.
I love Tremors, but I feel like it's another Children of the Corn franchise where
No.
like, hey,
No, it's not.
Jamie Kennedy, do you want to do a Tremors movie? Oh, I haven't done work in 5 years. Why not? Fuck it.
Listen, bro.
Honestly,
Tremors
Jamie
1,
Kennedy
awesome.
he gets a lot of work, man.
Tremors
That guy does a lot
2,
of shit.
I bet he
awesome.
does.
Tremors 3, decent. Tremors 4, okay. It's a good franchise. Good, solid franchise. We'll see about 5, but telling you, dude, Tremors is where it's at.
I love Tremors. I've seen all 4 of them like so far, but I'm just saying Jamie Kennedy is kind of a random like actor.
No, it definitely is.
Like what the fuck? Like what was that movie
No,
he was in where he was like a rapper or something?
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah, dude. Like what the fuck?
I think that movie came about. Wasn't it a skit on one of his shows, or he used to do that character?
Yeah,
and then,
the Jamie Kennedy experiment was like
and then they fucking made a movie or something. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like a kind of a random choice, but who knows? It might be good. But then again, when you think about it, the first Tremors film had Reba McEntire in it.
It did.
That is crazy to
Kevin
think about because I
Bacon.
forgot about that. I really forgot.
So,
about
like,
that.
you want to talk about random casting, dude?
That is
She never
good.
acted before ever.
Dude, that
She
is
did
so
Tremors.
random. Like I remember watching the first Tremors on TV with my dad, and like
I was
I
on it
remember,
all the time.
dude, it was always on TBS and like all the TV
Yeah.
channels.
Uh-huh.
And like I remember my dad loved Tremors, and I remember watching it, and like I remember seeing Reba McEntire. I didn't really know who she was at the time. I just remember seeing her with that big freaking red hair, and I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck?
And she's like, hell, you can take my 30-30 or something,
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. Never really seen the show. I don't really think it's horror related, but I think it's more, well, it's definitely TV, but the show Vikings, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I just, I don't really get down on too much of the TV shows anymore. It is too time consuming, but Vikings for anybody out there that's interested. Next up, we got one that I was really intrigued to watch. I know Jeremy just reviewed this one, and it's called We Are Still Here. I'm not sure who's releasing this in the States. I know it's Anchor Bay, so it's Dark Sky down in the US. I know it's an Anchor Bay release in Canada for my Canadian listeners out there, but
There ain't none.
there probably isn't. No, that's not true. I know Dylan's listening.
Dude, that's like
right now,
saying
so,
my
hey,
mom
buddy.
is my friend. Of course, he's your
It's
friend. He's
That's
gonna
not
listen.
entirely true. It's not true, man. That's not true, man. There's definitely more.
That's like
So,
my mom
whatever.
thinks I'm cute.
Hey, man, why do you always got to bring me down, man? You always got to be ripping on me and shit. Fuck you, JP.
How
Fuck
many-
off, JP. Fuck you, JP.
I'm gonna be Jeremy. Jesus Christ, how many more releases are there? We're gonna talk about this all day.
Ironically, the thing is called We're Still Here. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a long fucking time, buddy. There's so many fucking releases, ridiculous. Next up here from Universal is a film called Curve. I don't know, man. All I keep noticing on this cover is just some boobs. It's pretty awesome.
It
But
sounds like one of those like frat boy movies, like because like one of the things like now, or one of the sayings now is like you get curved. So like that's what I'm picturing, like a frat boy movie where you
Have
get
you ever
curved.
seen The Curve with Matthew Lillard?
No,
That movie's awesome.
I saw SLC Punk with him in it. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that
you'll
movie's
probably
awesome.
like The Curve. It's kind of thriller based. I'm not gonna get into it because
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, check it out. It's cool. You get it cheap.
yeah, this one, it doesn't look like a frat house film or whatever. It kind of looks like a serious survival film. Anyways, moving on. Next one here is Dead Rising / Watchtower.
I have already
That's
seen
a
that
fucking video game.
I watched that movie.
Is it released by Sony? How was it?
It was actually really, really good, surprisingly. The only reason I watched it was because like I was bored one night at my girlfriend's house and it was free on Epix, and I just like clicked on it because it was like really late, and I actually like stayed up and watched all of it, and it was actually surprisingly very, very good. Like my friend is a huge Dead Rising video game fan, and he found that the character that plays I can't remember his name, the main character in the movie. He looks exactly like Frank West from Dead Rising. He looks exactly like him. It's like a spitting image. But the movie itself was actually very well made, very well directed, good storyline. The zombies look pretty good. It was actually surprisingly good. Like, I mean, I would say if you got some time, like, it's not one of those movies that you would go out and really buy, I guess. But if you got some time, you can stream it through Netflix and watch it. It's really not a bad watch. It's one of those things you could throw on if you're bored or you have nothing else to watch.
Interesting. Q. Next up here from Lionsgate is a film called Eaters. This is fucking cracking me up, man. Because there's obviously no reviews on Amazon for it, but the editorial description for it is things go horribly wrong when one of the 5 goes missing. That's all it fucking says, man.
Dude,
I'm like,
you want to know what
okay.
that description reminds me of? And this is such a funny story. Like, I know everybody that listens to this is going to laugh. You guys remember a movie called Man on a Ledge or something? Man Out on a Ledge or something? All right, so I was like flipping through VOD one day on Charter on Demand, and that movie popped up, and the description for that movie said, "A man walks out onto a ledge." And that was it. That was the entire description. I was like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, what the fuck does that tell me about this fucking movie? Like, Jesus Christ.
That's funny.
That's pretty awesome. That's some good stuff. Next up here from Scream Factory is a film called Gravy.
Little update. Brandon just posted in the group page that Gravy is one of the best horror comedies he ever seen. Get it now, get it now, get it now.
Dude, I swear to God, I just read a review the other day that this was fucking horrible. so that's awesome, man. I love when I hear like one opposite end of the spectrum to the next. That's fucking great, man. That's awesome. The first thing I saw in here, I saw Sarah Silverman was in it. I'm like, that's awesome. I think she's funny as hell. So good stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this release. Fuck, it's expensive up here. I think they want like $25 for that release. I was like, fuck. Ridiculous, man. That's not cool. Moving along here, I think this one is released by, I want to say Warner. Or again, yeah, it is Warner, man. It's called Hidden. Very original title. I think I have 14 movies in my collection called Hidden. I mean, me and JP have talked many times about this. There's nothing worse than having a movie like this come out with the most generic name. You go to search it on Google, and like 46 films come up. You're like, fuck.
Yeah,
you know, it's like so discouraging, man.
It's like when you type in like Of the Dead, it's like 1,000 movies come up. Of the Dead.
Oh, dude, you type in Night of the Living Dead, and 1,000 movies come up.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I think this one is it says this in English, but I don't know what it really is about, but it kind of looks cool though, I have to admit though. Next up here from Brain Damage Films is a film called Honey Spider. Now this is one I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've been waiting for this one to come out forever. I have one in my possession right now, so it'll probably be coming up on, so if you follow my channel, I'll have a review for it coming up soon anyways, but I believe it's like a it's kind of like a possession type, not possession type film.
Demonic.
What do you call it, man? I don't know, like a cultish type thing like that, you know. It just looks fucking cool, man. It just sounds really cool. I think Steve, you know, our boy Steve, he said it's one you got to be definitely checking out this year. So it's always enticing. I know that doesn't sound good. You're like Brain Damage Films, so like, you know what, man? They've been really doing big things this year, man. Putting out some really good films, so which is always good, you know. They're the underdogs, right? Next up here from Image is The Invoking 2. Well, it's Image, and it's a sequel with the worst cover art ever.
Sounds about right.
The Invoking 2. Wow, that sounds so amazing.
I know, right? I know. Next up here, I know this one right here is getting a Anchor Bay Canada release, and it's called June, and I think it is literally a killer kid slasher film.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's being released by Image in the States, but this one,
Boring.
pretty much. Oh, Jesus Christ, JP! Check out my top 10, man. All the films in there are amazing.
I was being Jeremy.
I know that you're not the biggest fan of like killer kid films, but I don't know, man. This one actually intrigued me. I read the when I got the press release for this, I read the synopsis and I was like, "Fuck, man, this sounds kind of crazy. Sounds nuts." Like, I don't think there's too many, just bona fide straight up slasher films with like a fucking 8-year-old girl. It's kind of trippy.
Yeah,
sounds pretty cool.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but and then last up for releases here, we've got a film called Pod. Yeah, Pod.
Pod.
Pod, and it's the O is got a big huge light beam, and it's directed onto a house. I'm assuming it's some type of alien film. Quite obviously, right?
What would be really cool is if POD did the entire soundtrack for Pod.
POD, yeah. I like the quote on the top, reminiscent of the best of the X-Files. So yeah, it's very alienish. So, and that is going to do it for the DVD and Blu-ray releases for October 6, 2015.
Moodz, question.
And yes.
What is your release of the week?
Well, this one is actually pretty easy, actually. Obviously, the release of the week for me is going to be Volume 1 of the horror classics, of Hammer Horror Classics. Everybody needs to run out and grab that shit, man, because they're all good films. And, like I said, if you're not, too, up on your Hammer Horror, this is a good start. It's a good start. These are all good films. It'll, make you want to buy maybe a Volume 2, maybe Volume 3. But yeah, the horror classics, Hammer's best there. Pick it up.
Top 10 are in there. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. That's probably what I would pick too. So, yeah, Nito. Yeah, I said Nito again.
Yeah, dude, that was a lot of, it's kind of funny, those weeks that we have shitloads of news, we barely have any releases. And then this week, we didn't have a lot of news. We had some conversations, but you fucking kidding me with the releases this week, man? There must have been like 30 of them.
Yeah, but honestly, stupid. I wasn't that impressed either, though. There was some good stuff, obviously, but for the sheer amount, I was expecting to maybe it be a little difficult to pick a release of the week, but
I know, but that's the thing, man. You can't be overlooking some of these lower budget, these type of films and stuff like.
Yeah, but we don't know, obviously. You know what I mean? So
no, I don't. But I'm going to be reviewing a few of these films that are actually on this list coming up here. But some of them are good, some of them are bad. But
all right, well, you watch the bad ones, so I don't have to.
Exactly. Oh my god, I've watched some bad ones this year.
Right. So,
but yeah, I don't know, man. That is a lot. But I mean, even the rest of October here, man. We'll get to them later. But shit, dude. Next week, next week is jam packed. We're talking like break your fucking bank right there, for sure. So, all right. So we got any voicemails or?
Yeah, we have 2 voicemails today. We actually had 4, but the one guy called in twice, and I have a feeling that he wouldn't want them played because he kept getting interrupted, so I'm not going to play them. So I'm just going to play his third one, and then our homie Jeremy sent us one too.
Yo, what's going on? Why the hell am I leaving a voicemail? Well, I think I should at least call into my own show every once in a while, considering I can't be on these next 2 weeks, so I think I should at least do that. So, as you guys noticed, I haven't been on the show these last 2 weeks, because I have been working on a graduate film, and I've been on the producing side of that, so I've been extremely busy doing a whole bunch of fun shit, aka yelling at people, so I haven't been able to do the show. And I promised myself after I made a post over on the Facebook page that I wasn't going to be able to do this show anymore until my life settled down with all the craziness. And unfortunately, I think I was thinking with my tired brain and not being logical. So I think I could handle doing the show still. Even though my life may be a little bit more hectic, and if something does come up where I'm not be able to do the show, I know Moodz and JP will continue to trudge along without me for that episode. But as of right now, I should be back on, not this week, but the week after that. So I hope you guys look forward to that, and I hope you look forward to me calling JP a fucking asshole, because that's what he is, and I hope that you will enjoy my Texas Chainsaw Massacres, which will always come in true full screen. So I hope everybody is doing well, and I shall talk to you guys next week. See you guys later, and as Emperor Corn Dog says, Happy St. Patrick's Day. See you guys later.
So,
well, for everybody out there that doesn't know who that was actually Steve Buscemi. We're getting very famous. You know,
yeah,
Steve Buscemi's phoning into the show.
Steve Buscemi feels that he bad because he hasn't been able to come onto the show ever. But also, I gotta be honest, like that, is it just me or does like Jeremy not sound like Jeremy through the phone?
Yeah, he sounds exactly like he does in real life.
That's pretty funny, actually.
But
yeah.
So basically, what Jeremy's saying is he didn't know if he was gonna be able to do the show. He got really stressed out and was like, I can't do it anymore. And now he's saying that he should be able to do it. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go week by week. If he can't make it, he can't make it. We'll continue to do the show, and he'll just make it whenever he can. And we'll, if he can't make it, we'll try to get a guest or something, or Kyle or whatever. But if not, it'll just be me and Moodz like last week. And
Kyle or whatever. We'll just throw Kyle in there if he wants to be in there. Fuck him. You know what? I'm just playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't really know with with Jeremy sometimes because like he is busy but he doesn't know what his schedule is anyways. So yeah, I mean, there's gonna be people. I mean, Kyle, you're always welcome on the show. It's just a matter of when we find out too, because we all know Jeremy sometimes can tell us last minute what's going on, but then again, sometimes that's also due to his schedule. So we don't really know what's going on, so we might have to change up things and. Who knows? I mean, maybe we might even just grab a couple people. Say there's a show where Kyle wants to come on and say, we've invited Matt onto the show. I know Matt was on, when you did mini shots and stuff. Yeah. Remember the episode?
It was called Double
Pretty
Shot
cool
of
stuff.
Horror.
So
thank you for remembering.
Yep, Double Shot of Horror. I actually thought it was a really good title, man.
It was right because there's two horror movies that are commonly themed. And my YouTube name was Double Shot, and it's a double shot. Yeah. All right, but no, seriously, the only thing, guests, like, y'all are welcome to come on. We'll work it out. We'll figure out. We'll let you guys know our schedule of episodes, and you can pick one or whatever. But the only thing is, like, and this is the huge thing, like, we're not going to be able to change our recording time for you because this is, like, the only time we can record. So if you want to come on the show, you have to be available, like, 11 Eastern to, like, 4 in the morning. So chances are we're not going to have a bunch of people knocking down the door to be on the show. I mean, it's lucky enough we got Kyle, and but if that works for you, let us know. We'll try to get you on.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
So that is Jeremy's voicemail.
So we got any more?
Yeah, we have one more, which is it's a surprise.
Hey guys, it's Lawrence again. I'm hoping that I can finish what I'm trying to say without being interrupted this time. Okay, real quickly. Thank you, Moodz, for responding to me. I hope you guys got my message about Surreal Set. And lastly, I wanted to get your thoughts on, you know how there are movies that have been made into subgenres because they were so damn good. The ones involving vampires, werewolves, zombies, that sort of thing. I want to know what kind of movies you enjoyed that mixed it up a bit. For instance, there's a specific example I can think of. Project Metal Beast. They essentially took a werewolf and gave him this synthetic metal skin. So bullets, knives, basically nothing conventional could pierce his skin. And it was actually pretty well done, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you can think of any other films where there has been something that is so common, so standardized, that it's become dull, and someone actually took that old, worn-out idea and found a way to make it interesting by changing something, please let me know. And for God's sake, don't say Twilight because the vampires sparkle. Dear God, I don't need to hear any more about that shit. Anyway, hope to hear your podcast soon. Bye, guys.
So it's funny that he mentioned
the whole time
Twilight.
I was thinking, yeah, because we were just talking
Yeah,
about
because
that.
I was just defending Twilight, sort of.
Yeah, about how the sparkle thing is actually a pretty good idea. You know,
It's
Twilight
a pretty
gets
good
shit on
idea
all
on
the fucking time.
paper.
But then again, it's not a bad idea. I think Kyle will agree with me. Read Away is Wormwood.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was about to say Wormwood. That's crazy.
Because
You're the same thing as me.
Well, I even said it in my review too. I said, and I say that about every genre or every zombie movie that I like nowadays. That's a little fresh and stuff. For every good zombie film that comes out, there's 10 or 15 bad ones. And I think with Wormwood, they put some pretty interesting and clever ideas into the film. And we all know that zombies it's pretty stale. They've pretty much done everything. But then when a film like Wormwood comes out and you go, oh, kind of gets you thinking, it kind of gets you excited again. You're like, wow, that's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And there's another film I'll be talking about later in this show that I actually did review on Body Bags. If you checked it out, then you already know what I'm going to be getting into. But this one right here was a little fresh too. Is another fresh idea for zombies, and I thought it was pretty fucking cool. It's a film called The Plague So Pleasant. So I'll just let you know right now. But
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool. I was like, wow, like what are the chances of like two very fresh zombie films, to come out in 1 year? And this one's intriguing too because the budget's so low. But yeah, Wormwood was the first thing that came to my mind. Sorry, Kyle, for stealing your thing, but it was just instant because it was probably the newest one. I think of. So
we say that all the time, though, right? Like we're like, oh, it's a werewolf film. Oh, but it's a new take on the werewolf genre. Or like, hey, it's a slasher, but it's kind of a new take on the slasher genre. So we are constantly looking for an evolution of these subgenres because, let's face it, they get boring. So whenever you hear somebody talk about this new zombie film, it's always like, well, it's a different spin on a zombie film. You hear that all the time. And one that I could think of, like, off the top of my head from the previous year that I thought was an interesting take was the werewolf film. It was definitely a very interesting take on the werewolf genre, and they kind of treated it like a real thing. Like this is what it would be like if a werewolf virus type thing disease existed in the actual real world. And there's a lot of films that do that, right? They take a different spin on a classic subgenre that I don't really know any off the top of my head, but there's definitely tons of them. Tons that we say that all the time.
I think we do. Kyle, can you think of one?
Something that comes to the top of my head that I'm thinking of recently. I guess it's not really a spin, but it was different than what I was expecting, and it was a lot different than a lot of the slasher movies that are out or that have been coming out. Is Charlie's Farm. Is the big kind of inbred like slasher guy. I mean, he was really huge. He was kind of like inbred-ish. I mean, normally slashers, it's kind of like this guy creeping around. He's maybe big, but he's not that big. This guy was like fucking huge. Like he was like a fucking I don't know what he was. I mean, he was just gigantic. I mean, it was a little bit different than what I'm normally used to with slashers, and it was kind of a different take on like the look of a slasher guy. So and maybe it's a little bit different than what you guys are thinking with zombies, and he's thinking with vampires, going off the vampire theme. But for a slasher theme, the look of that guy was a little bit different. I can't really think of many other movies where the guy is that fucking huge. And like, I mean, of course most of them are weird looking, but this guy's gigantic. He's almost like a giant. So it was, I don't know, maybe that's really the only one off the top of my head that I can really think of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot, but we're always on the spot, so we just try to do what we can with.
Yeah, you lose your train of thought. So
our tiny brains.
Mm-hmm.
So
sweet.
That's the voicemails.
That's it for voicemails, eh? Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Knowledge notes.
So how many times did he phone in?
He phoned in.
And kept getting interrupted.
3 times. The first time it was like 20 seconds. The second time was like 20 seconds. But they were actually funny because when he calls back, he's like, "I just had an emergency with a chicken sandwich," and I was like, then he gets interrupted again. So I don't know, something with the chicken sandwich happened that caused him to get disrupted.
Yeah. So we started this segment, I don't know, a while ago, a few shows back, anyways, and it's called Knowledge. So, JP, what do we got for knowledge this week?
So, as always, knowledge is just kind of a spitball type thing. We'll usually pick a topic or two and discuss. The first thing that I want to do before I actually get into the topic that I wanted to discuss is we had mentioned that we like doing the top 10 shows. We do them at the end of the year every year. Top 10 of 2013, top 10 of 2014. In January, it'll be top 10 of 2015. But me and Moodz also went back and did a top 10 of 1968 because we figured that was like modern horror. That's where modern horror starts. So we did top 10 1968, and then we thought of doing 1969, but then somebody threw out the idea like, why don't you do 87? And it's like, well, yeah, we could hop around, but if we hop around, how about we do it in a random way? So what I have is I have every year listed from 1969 all the way down to 2012 because that's kind of the cutoff before we started doing the show. So I'm going to hit randomize, and whatever year comes up, that will be a future show. It'll probably be months from now because, let's face it, how long did it take us to prepare for 68? Like a half a year?
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah, because you really want to see as many films.
We did a lot of
possible.
preparation. Oh, fuck yeah, man. Watched, tons of films from that year. It's a lot of prep, man.
Yeah, so it'll be a while before we actually do the show, but we at least need to know what we're doing so we can start preparing for it. And it's fun to buy all those films from 1968 and see all these films that I would have probably never seen as soon if I didn't go out and seek them out. So I'm gonna hit randomize. What do you, any bets on the decade that you think it's gonna hit?
I'm really, really hoping it's from the 70s, and the reason why I say that is because myself, I've covered a shitload of 80s films already, and but I've been really digging the 70s, man.
Yeah.
I got a new update coming. I got a lot of 70s films, but I'm really digging the 70s right now, and I just think the 70s would be so much fun to do.
I'm gonna say the 90s.
You know what?
Oh, fuck.
I think the 90s would probably be the funnest for me personally because there are not very many films, so it'd be a little easier. But then there's these ones that are like buried that like nobody knows about. Like I'll see one and then I'll be like, holy shit! Like I would have never seen this in my life. So I think it would be. I'm not hoping for the 90s. I'm honestly hoping for the 70s. Just because like what you said, I think of stuff like Centerfold Girls, and I'm like, I wonder how many more of those are out there. You know what I mean? How many more good films like that are out there in the 70s? So
1972. Come on, baby.
That's your guess? 1972?
1972 is my guess.
All right. If it lands on 1972, Kyle will give you a BJ. Deal, Kyle?
How the fuck? Like, where did this deal come from? Like, what if it lands on my pick? Like, you give me a fucking BJ? Come on,
Jeremy.
I don't even. How are these BJs ever gonna happen, man?
How about you lick my butthole and Jeremy will lick my balls?
We're not even in different states. We're in different countries right now.
All right. Kyle, do you want to take a guess?
I'm gonna say 1993.
All right.
Oh, fuck. If it was 1993, I would die laughing because that is absolutely the best year in the 90s. That would be so good.
I know. I'm going to say, even though, like, obviously I'm the one doing it, I'm still going to take a pick. I'm going to say 2008, which would be just awful, right? So, are you guys ready?
2008.
Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
We should have sound effects for this.
2002 is the year.
Ugh.
2002?
Ew.
Shut the fuck up.
What was that Saw?
Oh, it had to be
what is that
2000?
Saw 1?
Yeah. So it's 2000. The top three were 2002, 1999, and 1971. That's hilarious.
Ugh.
2002 it is. Kind of an interesting year. I don't know. I don't know what really came out. I can't think of one film that came out in 2002.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, the early 2000s are kind of a...
Here you go, right here.
The Ring.
28 Days Later, The Ring, Dog Soldiers, Cabin Fever, Halloween Resurrection, Ghost Ship, Resident Evil, May. There's actually decent movies.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there. This could be fun. This could be
yeah,
fun.
It's not that bad.
Okay, so 2002 will be our next top 10 show. And
dude, Blood Gnome came out in 2002.
Have you seen Blood Gnome?
No, I still haven't seen it yet, man. But people always talk about that shit. I know you talk about it. Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep, dude. I just saw that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
Dead and Rotting came out then?
I haven't seen a lot of these. I haven't seen
Hellraiser Hellseeker came out.
Oh, dude, definitely top 3.
The Eye, Fear.com, Fear of the Dark. Jason 10, Jason X, Ju-on the Grudge. Killjoy 2,
Queen of the Damned,
Killer Bees. What else came out here? Fucking, we got some Python 2. Oh, there's some really bad ones in here too, man. Rose Red, Shark Attack 3. Fucking
Blade 2, Dark Water. Fucking, oh my god, Fear.com, dude.
And dude, there's actually some really bad ones this year. Dark Water Oh no, that's the original Dark Water film. That's actually pretty fucking cool.
Dude, Shark Attack 3, man. Fuck yes.
Blade 2.
Yeah, I mean, this could be fun.
That's a good year, man. Honestly, for the 2000s, that's actually a pretty good
2003, I think, is the best year in the 2000s. But 2002, there's definitely some interesting ones in there, and I think it'll be fun to find the lesser known ones. That's where it gets fun.
Scarecrow.
Yeah. Scarecrow.
A little anticlimactic. It didn't really work out.
Fucking Phone and Horror came out in 2002. I actually reviewed that on the podcast here. That's pretty cool. Death Watch did that one too. The Rats did that on Killer Rat Week, man.
Cube 2 Hypercube.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, what the fuck, man? Dude, I have so many of these movies. This is great. This is kind of fun. I'm kind of bummed out it wasn't from the 70s, but this is gonna be a fun challenge just to create a top 10 out of this.
Mm-hmm. And that was the whole idea behind it. I had a lot of fun doing the 68 show, and I want to do one after we finish this one, we'll do another randomizer, and maybe we'll get something from the 70s. There's fucking so many years to choose from, so it's cool. It's cool. But the other topic that I wanted to bring up is fucking funny because Kyle totally stole this topic from me. I already had it planned. I even mentioned it to you, Moodz, like a month ago, where I was like, for one of the knowledge segments, I want to talk about how we organize our collection. And then Kyle, last week, posts on the page, hey, how does everybody organize your collection? Because I was kind of wondering, because my collections, I need to organize it. And so I want to ask you guys, how do you organize your collection?
I'll go ahead and just say mine's by alphabet now because that's what I did mine by after I listened to everybody. I don't have that many. Yeah. My collection isn't that big, so I just did it by alphabetical.
Just like his dick.
Yeah. Just by alphabetical on my dick. I got ABC on my long cock. But anyway, I watched Moodz's fucking walkthrough video of his collection, and he does. I think you do yours by what company it's released by, or
the majority of my collection is alphabetical, but then I separate out some companies. Like I have all my Blue Undergrounds together. All my Traumas, I've got Slasher Video together.
So you just pile a bunch of shit in a corner.
So, and then there's all the Roger Corman cult classics are together, and then all my Blu-rays are actually all separated by companies. It's all Screen Factories, it's all Redemptions, it's all Code Red, Synapse, Grindhouse, Arrow, everything is like that. And I've been kind of leaning towards doing that even with my DVDs and doing all my old Anchor Bay, the original Anchor Bay titles, and all Shriek shows, and kind of separating everything out like that, and Mondo Macabros and things like that. I'm a big company fan. If I like a company, I'll just try to pick up most of the stuff and kind of do it like that. But I mean, really, what's kind of cool is that if you collect Mondo Macabros, they come in red cases. So then you have this red section. It's fucking awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And that's kind of how I see it. And I'm like, okay, really cool. But, I like when they're kind of uniform too. It's like the Shout Factory Roger Corman cult classic collection that came out. They put out there's tons of them. I think I'm only missing 2 of them.
They all look the same.
They're all kind of very. Yeah, they're all kind of uniform. They look awesome together. So, I'm a big fan of that. But I'm a sucker for numbers. When Redemption started releasing, their Blu-rays, and they're all numbered. And they're fucking uniform. Everything looks identical. It's great. So I like the look of that. So that's kind of why I do that. So, but with other random companies, say like an E1 or other random shit, I'll just put them into alphabetical. So
yeah. So what I do is very similar to Moodz actually, but it just started once my collection grew enough to kind of do this. But I have like all of my regular DVDs alphabetized A through Z. Then I have a shelf that has all of my Scream Factories. They're in order of release though, which I don't think you do that, do you, Moodz? Or do you?
In order of release?
Yeah.
No, actually, my Scream Factories, the way they're organized right now, the whole top row is all the collector's editions. They're not in order of release. They're just all collectors. And then after that, I have
double features.
I do have a whole section double features. And then I also have the slipcover contemporary horror films, and then the newer contemporary horror films that aren't slipcovers, kind of in the same section.
And then retro collector's edition ones.
Yeah, and then I have all the retro stuff, and then the very last ones are
DVDs.
kind of the releases that are not necessarily horror films, like Mad Max and like Eva Destruction, and they're kind of at the end. And then I have the DVDs kind of sitting there, and the box sets aren't even in there; they're actually on top of the section. So it's very kind of OCD. Like, everything is like all my box sets and stuff in my regular collection are not in my collection. They're actually all separated around the room. You guys have probably seen the videos and stuff, but they're not actually, I can see some people catalog their box sets right in with their solo DVDs. I don't do that.
Yeah, I do some with some. I'm just kind of choosy about it. But I also have like all my art exploitations in a row because they're numbered. They do kind of look kind of shitty though, because some are Blu-ray, some are DVD, and honestly, they're all like, they're samurais in a blue case. Then the next two releases are in thick white cases, and then the next Blu-ray release is in a skinny white case. So it's like, what the fuck are they
kind of
doing?
weird.
They keep changing their case design. But also, I thought about organizing my collection by category / subgenre, because I thought it'd be so fucking cool, right? Like have a big section of werewolves and stuff, big section of killer rat movies. I started even doing it. It's a huge project. I had a big headache. Because this is what ended up happening. I want a section for Stephen King films, right? But I also have a section for killer car films. And I also have a section for John Carpenter films. So where the fuck does Christine go? Does it go in Stephen King, John Carpenter, or Killer Car? It's a headache, dude. It's such a bad headache.
I had the same problem, man. Because I organized my stuff into, specific companies. And I had one time had all my Lucio Fulci stuff together and my Argentos and stuff. And it bugged me every day because I had the Fulcis together. And then, a lot of those releases are Blue Underground. So they'd be out of the Blue Underground section. It was just fucking driving me nuts, man. Mm-hmm. So the way I would do it, I was just thinking, I was like, well, okay, I think this Blue Underground section is way bigger, so I'll put those all together and I'll just kind of fuck that. But I always thought of, doing subgenres, like have all my slasher films together and have all my werewolves and vampires and stuff. But then where do you put those films that kind of fit into like two different categories?
That's
it's
another
like
problem. Well, I always
it's like, what the fuck do you do with those?
Like, let's say you was doing your collection by subgenre and you had your slashers, right? I always thought that I would start out with like pseudo slashers, or not pseudo, like proto slashers, like The Town of Dreaded Sundown and Black Christmas and all the ones that came before Halloween. Then I would do like regular slashers like Halloween, Happy Birthday to Me, My Bloody Valentine, maybe even have like a little mid-section for holiday themed slashers in there, and then go on to supernatural slashers like Freddy and some of the other ones that are more kind of slashers, but like Candyman or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I would do with those.
Yeah, it's probably a better way of doing it. Like, if you want to separate your stuff into like directors and things like that, it's just too hard, man. Because you're pulling, like, all those films are being pulled out of all those little subcategories. Exactly. You have like killer cars and stuff. Rough. So it's hard to do, man. Yeah, I learned that, man. Like I said, like for a long time I had, like I said, my Fulcis, my Argentos and Carpenters and Cravens and even Tarantino's together and stuff, and things were just getting, I'd look at them and go, well, it's fucking up that company and that's fucking up that company. I'm like, no, not happening.
So, like, even another example, if you had a Craven section, right? And would you really want to have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 in your Craven collection and then all the other Elm Streets in your psychological slasher collection or supernatural slasher collection? No, it's too frustrating. So I also want to ask you this. You say you alphabetize them, right? So do you go like, say you're on N, do you go Night of the Living Dead and then is Dawn of the Dead in D's?
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead is in D's.
No!
Yeah.
What are you doing? See, I have to have them. They're a franchise, so they're together.
You're trying to keep all the franchises together, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like, so my collection goes, when it gets to the ends, I have Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead. What was the other one? Survival of the Dead.
No, I mean, that totally makes a lot more sense. And, like, the funny thing is in my collection, I have a few things like that. I have a couple things that are, you know, not the same name, but they're part of the same thing and they're together. But then I have others that aren't. It's probably because it took me like fucking 2 months to do my collection at one time. So I was probably just thinking different things on different days.
So,
and I was like,
do you have Friday
the
the 13th, part 1 through 8, and then have Jason Goes to Hell and J's and Jason X and J's? No, no, don't do that. Actually. You do? Yeah. What are you? Oh my God! Why are you doing that?
I know it's so funny, but then I have other things that aren't like that though. It's so weird. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this question.
But those are also DVDs. I mean, I have the fucking box set though too. It's like whatever.
But, let me ask you this. So do you guys mix in VHSs with your DVDs?
No.
Okay, so that's all separate.
DVDs are all one thing. DVDs are one thing. VHS are one thing.
You know,
Blu-rays are one. Like they're all separate.
I don't know if I showed you guys, but I built those shelves that Kyle and Matt built. I built one for myself, and I actually do use the VHS as I have 3 Halloween VHSs, and I kind of use them as a bookend because they're the only ones that are really out of the like storage. Because I have like all my VHS like put away except for like Tales from the Hood because I watch that regularly. But I kind of use those as like bookends because they're heavier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the only way I'll put them on the shelf. I might use them as like display pieces. Like on the top of my shelf, I have Witchcraft on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I bought it at Goodwill and never packed it away. But it's used as
Witchcraft on.
Yeah, it's used as a display piece now. But I'm real OCD about like, because what I'll do is I have my regular Blu-ray, my regular DVDs, my regular Blu-rays all on a shelf. Then I have a section where I have an unwatched pile, and then next to that I have an unwatched, unupdated pile. So I have the pile after I update it that I need to still watch before I file them, and then I'll start a new stack that'll be all the films that I buy, haven't watched but haven't updated either. It gets really confusing sometimes, and honestly I have a lot of films mixed into my shelves now that I haven't watched. It's kind of bugging me. I almost want to pull them all off, but I know that it'll be like a ridiculous amount, and I'll be like mad at myself.
Such the fucking headaches of a collector, eh?
Right. I mean, this is obviously super nerdy, but it gets really technical. Like when you're a collector, you get real serious about shit. You're like, well, I can't have my boy Jay sitting split like that. Like Moodz can get somehow not die by doing that, but like me, I'll just go insane. I'll be like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
But like, it's even worse when you have films that are like completely different titles for sequels. Like, do you have House of 1,000 and then Devil's Rejects in the like? You have House in H's and you have Devil's Rejects in D.
I do.
Oh my God, I have them together.
Yeah.
Well, Devil's Rejects really isn't like a sequel, is it? I mean, it's not.
Yes, it's an absolute sequel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
I mean, I know it had the same characters. I mean, I've seen both the movies.
It's the very next day. It's the very next day. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's still sleeping with the dead cheerleaders, and they would be decomposed.
Still, though, it's hard to like put those two together for me as a franchise for some reason.
They're very different in tone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd just kind of throw that out there. It'd be a nice little.
Yeah, I wish I could think of something that I have. I do have some things that are together that are kind of weirdly placed, but Yeah, I don't know. I have to redo everything anyways, and
It's like the
I think I'm gonna
Child's
put
Play
everything
films.
into companies.
Like
Yeah.
Child's Play, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky. You really gonna put that in the B's? Seed of Chucky. You're gonna put that in the... Then you have all these Chucky films all over your collection instead of
Oh,
together.
you know what's funny? You know what's funny? You just picked out one that I have all together. I have all the Chucky films together.
Then you'll have shit like Hellraiser, you'll have Hellraiser, and then you'll have Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Like, really? Couldn't you
No,
just call it Hellraiser
no.
2 Hellbound?
Yeah, it's with all the Hellraisers for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Oh, here's another one. Chrome Skull, Laid to Rest 2.
No, those are together.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though.
But you gotta put them together because it has Laid to Rest 2 in the title. So I mean, it's like you gotta put them
Exactly.
together. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not really that much of a difference.
Now, do
I was
you
probably
skip-
thinking to myself when I was organizing. I'm like, "Ooh, I'll just make an exception here."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No way we fucking think."
Now, do you skip like those? Like
Yeah,
I
like
do.
if films like The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you put it in.
Yeah, I don't have a whole section of the films.
Yeah.
I don't-
What
no.
about A?
No,
A Nightmare on Elm
No.
Street. You put it in N.
I skipped that.
Nightmare on Elm Street's on Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. Do you start with your numbers first, and then
Yep. Numbers first. I have like
Okay.
28 days later.
I think that's like the
65 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's like the first like number movie that everybody probably has in their horror collection is 28 Days Later. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
what
Yeah,
number
go ahead.
before 28 is there? I can't think of any movie. It's like
dude, I think I have about 20
13,
films before that.
13 Ghosts. That's like the only other one I can really think of.
I also have like
13
some
Eerie.
of the some of the 4-packs too. Like it'll be like the 4-film. Like,
I was
put
gonna
those-
mention that. So
those
let's
are a few,
say
those are
let's say you have that Lionsgate 8 pack, right? Has Ghoulies
it's-
3. It has.
it'll be an 8.
It'll be where?
It'll be where the number 8 would be.
Oh, really? Because I put all. Here's what I do. I'll put all of those together by themselves at the end of my collection. All those 8 packs and stuff. That's at the very end of my collection. They're all together, except for
Not-
if I have a film in the collection that I want it, like I bought that collection for. So, for example, I have the Ghoulies that 4-pack, right, or that 8-pack with Ghoulies 3 in it. I have
Yeah.
that. My collection goes Ghoulies 1 and 2, that 8-pack, and then Ghoulies 4, because that's like the prime movie in that collection that I bought it for. Either
That's-
that or 976 Evil. But I do that a lot too, where, for example, I have a 3-pack with Return of the Living Dead in it. It's sad I don't own a actual solo version of Return of the Living Dead. It has 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, and Return of the Living Dead. I actually have that in my Return of the Living Dead section.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I will say that that's an amazing pack right there that you just said. For some reason, like that just sounds very interesting to me. But anyway, like yeah, I just bought that pack with Head of the Family in it, and I put it in the H's because like none of the other movies. They had Bong. What was that Bong movie? Like Bong
Evil
Killer?
Bong?
Evil Bong. It had that in it. It's the third one.
Yeah.
But like I would rather see.
Mhm.
I bought it for Head of the Family, so I put
Yes.
it in the H's. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what
It
I
has Head of the Family and Evil Bong 3.
Yeah.
That's so random.
Yeah,
And-
those
and
Mill
see-
Creek packs are weird. They'll just have like the
Fucking
randomest full
strange,
moon
man.
films.
And some
So
movie called like
strange.
Seed of something or
Seed People.
Seed People. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah. See People's cool.
Yeah,
It's fun.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm real picky about how I organize my collection. Shit really bugs me. I always go original franchise, remake on the end, never remake first. It's always chronological order when it comes to franchises. Fucking sometimes you get weirded out because you're like, holy shit, there's 4 Carrie movies. You know what I mean? Just like, how the fuck is there 4 Carrie movies? How does that even happen? They're all the same movie.
Yeah, really. Eh?
But yeah.
Totally.
So let us know, guys, listening. How do you organize your collection? If you think we're psychotic for thinking about it that much.
Oh no, we're definitely psychotic. We're definitely psychotic. You know.
If you wanna like get into organizing your movies, watch Moodz' video because I watched that video probably like 4 or 5 times, and like I was like, this motherfucker is OCD as shit because like this shit is like laid out so well. Like his movie collection's like insanely, and I'm sure he's changed shit up since then, but Like it's
Well,
pretty well laid out.
Just put it this way: the other 1,500 films I've bought since I've done that video, there's a lot of stackage on my floor right now. I need to get those the racks from like the DVD stores.
Yeah, you gotta figure out something, dude. You got.
I know to put them in
that or
order,
just
so I can
you know
just
what?
kinda start doing aisles. It's
You're just gonna have to
man.
get rid of the traumas. It's the only option.
Get rid of the throne. I can't get rid of that's like 200 fucking movies right there.
Get rid of the anchor bays, more like it.
Dude, I'm sure it'll only take like $50 to pay somebody to take them for you.
Fuck that, man.
Dude, those movies are worth more than that.
I like my traumas, man. I mean, I like
most
trauma.
of them are $1, but some of those movies are actually really good, like Poultrygeist and shit. I like they're classics, man. Some of them, shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, some of the newer shit that they've been releasing has been really, really bad. Like, I actually just watched Mad Cow this week, and it was fucking horrible, man. It was so bad. Even the wife comes down, she looks at me, she starts laughing, she goes, "My God." It was like such a good reaction. I'm like, I know, it's fucking terrible. I admit it. It's like so bad it was actually bad, but you know how it goes, right? Fuck.
Let's hear
is that all
our,
for knowledge, bud?
Yeah, let's hear our Rue Morgue fact of the day, or whatever the hell you call it.
All right, so yeah, the coroner's report, courtesy of Rue Morgue, weird stats and morbid facts. This is coming from the March 2015 edition, issue 153. It's got the giant monster man on the cover. The return of Bertie Gordon. Okay. Yeah, I just randomly grabbed this like I do every show, and the one I came up with, this one sounded pretty interesting. Oddly enough, we talked about Hellraiser how many times in this episode? But anyways, Julia and Frank's house address in Clive Barker's Hellraiser is 55 Ludvigo Place. I can't remember how you fucking say that, but named after the Ludvigo technique, a fictional form of therapy used in A Clockwork Orange. Haha. That is cool.
I did not know that.
Neither did I. That's interesting. I mean, I obviously read it before, but it's kind of cool how they just kind of named the street after, and it was completely named after Clockwork Orange. That's fucking cool, man. Really cool. So that is going to conclude Moodz Swingz. Yeah. So moving into the WWW portion of the show, which of course is what we watched this week. And if you guys don't know what that is, for y'all new listeners out there, it is where we just take a film and we talk about it, review it, and yeah, we just go around in a circle and
round table style.
Some round table style, maybe some shit films, maybe some good ones, and then of course we'll get into the sections of the week. So, JP, do you want to go first?
Let's go ladies first, Kyle.
Ladies first.
So,
good old Queen Latifah song.
Movie that I watched this week that I'll talk about a little bit is I Spit on Your Grave 3. This
that fucker come.
Yeah, that just like got dropped. So I watched it actually yesterday. Me and my brother threw it on. So this movie has the same main character as the first movie, Sarah Butler.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This movie's actually, I'll go ahead and say it off the bat, it's a really, really, it's not the greatest movie in the world as far as the third movie goes, but it actually, I love this franchise. I love this remake franchise because so far I've seen all three of them. So far, all three of them have been pretty well made. They follow in like a linear storyline, lenticular storyline. Sarah Butler actually is in a rapist group. She's basically like in one of those, like, I guess, I don't know what they call them, those groups talking about where you go and you talk about what happened to you and everybody's there, kind of like a DD group, but it's for rape, and all these people are there. She meets a girl who she becomes best friends with, and that girl gets killed by her ex-boyfriend and raped, and she actually goes on like a killing
killed then raped, or raped then killed?
So the girl that she meets, who's her friend, actually goes over to her ex-boyfriend's house to get some of her things. She actually has this plan where she's actually going to go over there and steal the things because her ex-boyfriend raped her and she left some of her things over there. So she goes over there, tells Sarah Butler she's going to go over there, and she never comes back and ends up getting killed. I don't know if she got raped first and then killed, or killed and then raped. It doesn't really say.
I like to think killed and then raped.
Probably, more than likely. But
You like to think? I like how you emphasize liked.
Yeah.
that's the thing about
that's
the
like
movies,
that's like how I imagine it.
like there's really nothing like it's hard to like these movies. Like that's the thing about these movies. It's like this they like focus so much on rape in these movies, and like that's one of those like kind of like taboos that like nobody wants to talk about is rape. And like, you know, you see all kinds of movies on it, but people always like you say rape in front of anybody, they're like, oh my God. But yeah, that pretty much happens. Her friend goes over there, her friend gets raped and killed. Sarah Butler starts
Or
going
killed
on
and
this
raped.
killed and raped. Sarah Butler starts going on this rampage with all the people that are in this rape group, this like counseling group. They're telling their stories, and she's going out and killing the people that are raping these people. So
that's a good plot line.
It's really good, dude, and it's gory and it's like very well made. And she's a great actress and she's hot. And I would highly recommend.
That's not what you say when you review a rape revenge film. That is not what you say.
I know. I wouldn't rape her. I don't rape, but
I swear, guys, I wouldn't rape her.
I mean, if she was willing, I mean, maybe. I mean,
if she was willing to be raped,
if she wanted me to crawl through the window, break in the window, and she was into it,
chicks get off on that, man.
This is getting fucked up. We're gonna go to jail,
dude. I would go to jail for watching these movies because they're so fucked up, man. But I don't know, man. Like this was one of those movies. I would definitely give this movie an 8 out of 10. I give all of these 8 out of 10 solid, 1, 2, and 3. I think it's a great franchise. I would say check it out when it drops.
Have you seen the original?
I've seen all of them.
Okay,
I've seen the original and all 3 remakes.
Have you seen the pseudo sequel?
I remember us talking about it, but I don't.
Savage Vengeance came out, I think, in 1990. It's like it's a shot on video kind of unofficial sequel. It actually has Camille Keaton in it too.
Yeah, she actually left production like halfway through.
I never saw it.
Oh, dude, I've talked about it on the show before. It's fucking so bad and funny though. Actually, Massacre Video released the DVD, so you can get it. But there's the rape scene is so fucking funny in the film because it's not very often you see a rape scene where the dude has his pants on. He's pretty much just dry humping her. And like it's fucking so bizarre to watch, and you're like, okay. But the revenge dude is it's probably the most laughable thing you've ever seen on film, man. It's such a bad film. It's not even so bad, it's good. It's fucking terrible. Terrible.
Let me ask you guys
it's
this.
Such a bad rape revenge film. It's terrible, man.
Let me ask you guys this. What's the worst rape scene you've ever seen in a movie? Ever? I know what mine is, hands down. I'll let you guys say what yours is first before I say mine.
Probably
honestly,
I Spit on Your Grave, the original.
I think the worst rape scene I've ever seen in a film actually is from American Me. It's the jail scene with the serrated fucking Rambo knife. They put up this guy's asshole.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Fuck his asshole to death, and he dies. Fuck, dude. I mean, American Me is such an amazing fucking movie, but that's probably the most vicious rape scene I've ever seen, man. It just, I don't know. There's something about that. Like, oh, fuck, dude. It just gets me every time I watch that.
I would say mine.
Not even a horror film. Not even a horror film.
That's mine. Mine's not a horror film either, but it's Irreversible. The rape scene in Irreversible of Monica Bellucci is so violent, dude. It's like silent. The movie is silent, and she's getting raped for literally 20 minutes. 20 minutes of that movie is a rape scene. I'm like, she's getting fucked in the ass and everything. It's horrible.
The worst thing about that scene is, the way it's shot, but then you see that dude come walk around the corner and he stops and looks and then he goes,
yeah, I'm out.
It just turns his head and he just fucking bails. It's like, who the fuck sees someone getting raped and you just do nothing about it?
That's horrible, dude.
Oh,
I think the bad thing about it is she's walking down the hall and he just grabs her and starts raping her, like out of he has his girlfriend with him, and then he kicks her, and then he starts raping this other girl. It's like crazy, dude. It's horrible. And she's so hot though, man. Monica Bellucci is so hot though, man.
Let me ask you guys a question.
She's great.
Let me ask you guys a question. What's the first rape scene you've ever seen?
Ooh, probably Last House on the Left, the original.
The first rape scene? That's a good question. I actually have no idea, man. I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you.
Well,
Jesus.
I know that the first like rape thing that I remember watching like a Lifetime movie. It didn't show anything obviously, but it was like insinuated, and I was like 6, and I was like, what the fuck? And I remember like processing it and it being like really uncomfortable. I can't really think of like the first.
I'm sure like some like Steven Seagal movie I watched had a rape scene in it like a long time ago. I don't really remember. I mean, I'm thinking Last House on the Left because I saw that movie when I was in like middle school or high school for the first time, but I don't know. I probably saw some kind of rape scene before then.
Yeah, mine
think
had to be before I seen Last House.
I actually think I know what it is.
What is it?
I think the first rape scene I ever seen that, you know, it's more, I mean, it's kind of there. It's a little more implied and stuff too, but is Death Wish.
Yeah.
I want to say, because I seen Death Wish at such a young age, but I don't know if you guys remember, but I don't remember what week it was, but on our Top 10 Tuesday series, we had a Revenge Week, and I actually did my top 10 on strictly rape revenge films. Man, I got a lot of fucking hate comments on there, like, oh, you get off on rape films, and I'm like, man, no, I explained in the video why I made it like that.
It's really hard to talk about it though, man. Like we discussed this, the idea of like saying that you like these films. It's a very complex situation to talk about these films in a positive light,
Just
especially
because you like a
being a
rape
male.
Just because you like a rape revenge movie doesn't mean you like rape. It's just because you like
people are like,
the
oh, you
concept.
like rape, and I'm like, no, I fucking don't like rape, and I don't condone rape at all. The reason why I enjoy watching rape revenge films because I find that rape is like the ultimate reason to do. You can just revenge is the ultimate thing for rape.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
to me, it's
raped,
like
you have to get revenge. Like it's just such a fucking vile thing that revenge is just a must. And it's the ultimate reason to do revenge on anybody is if you get raped. In my opinion, it's just so.
To me,
vile.
it's a combination of things. First, I love feeling emotion when watching films. Like that's kind of why I do it to a certain extent. Like yeah, I like having fun, but like if a film can make me sad or angry or happy even, like that's kind of that's like the drug. And there's such a negative emotion in a rape scene that I have not experienced it in life other than seeing rape on film. Like that it's this darkness, this negative emotion that I don't get to experience that often. And I'm an emotion junkie. Like I like feeling different ways. I like seeing if something could make me feel disturbed or disgusted or angry.
Mm-hmm.
And rape is usually a combination of all these different emotions that you don't really know how to process. And it just makes you feel like, I don't know what to do right now. And like that's kind of why, like, I kind of like it. So yeah, I'm #pro rape.
I love how like people watch Moodz' like rape revenge top 10, and then like they're gonna give him hate. It's like if you don't like rape or you don't want to hear that shit, why are you even watching his video? Like
if you
what
don't
the
like
fuck?
rape, don't watch his video.
Like what the fuck? Like
like rape.
It's weird.
But
right?
it's also stems from me kind of just wanting to, I guess, kind of understand, because obviously men can get raped, but it's a much different experience. It oftentimes seems a little less traumatic, less long lasting, not in all cases, but for the most part it seems a lot different. And I guess being a male, I kind of like to try to figure out like kind of see it. Like I kind of want to see it from as close of an example of like how terrible that would be, so, and the only way is to kind of, because you can't really, you don't know what it's like, right? No matter how you think about it, you're never going to know, but at least it helps me kind of understand a little bit. And the director of I Spit on Your Grave said that he made that film because he's seen a woman who had just been raped. She ran up to him or whatever, and he said that that emotion, that pure look of like terror and dread was kind of this hard thing to describe, and that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Like I like, it's weird saying that I want to see what it's like, but in the same sense, I almost want to be sympathetic and understand a little better, even though a film might not be the best way to do that. It's still part. Mm-hmm. It's part of the reason why I find it interesting, and it's just because like it usually puts me into thinking outside the box in someone else's shoes type situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got off on like a huge tangent on rape.
Yeah, we really did.
We should have did.
I still think one of the most vicious things. I've seen in a rape scene though is in Ryan Nicholson's Gutterballs when, the bowling pin.
Yeah, but it's so over the top that I can't even take it serious though,
dude.
But it's
even though it's over the top,
it is over the top.
It hurt my chest thinking about like shoving a bowling pin up a girl. Like, what the fuck,
does it even? I don't think it would even work.
I don't know, man. Who knows? A baby comes out of a vagina. I mean, why can't a bowling pin go up one?
Yeah, but a lot of different things happen. With
not
your
really.
body.
I watched it come out.
I didn't talk about it last week, but in my Italian Stallion that I watched last week, that Martyrs film, basically there's a scene where I didn't want to give any spoilers, but whatever. The guy's going to turn on the girls and they start raping them, and there's a scene where he actually shoves his knife up this chick's pussy, and then kind of doesn't really fuck her, but he kind of pulls her out. It's fucking
sounds terrible.
It's just nasty. Yeah, it's just nasty. You're just like, oh.
I can't even process that happening in real life. Like, to me, that's like some fantasy shit. You know what I mean? But it does happen. Like that, something like that has happened.
No, it does.
And it's like, to me, it just seems so outlandish and fantasy. It's like nobody would actually do that. But it's fucked up that people, like, there are people who have done much worse things than that. It's so weird. But anyway, let's get back on topic. You want to get back on topic?
I was going to say, man, I almost feel obligated to give my top 10 rape revenge films right now.
Yeah. I feel like this could be like a big long show, just discussing rape in film.
There really is, man. And I can't remember if it was that video. I might have been talking about it on another video or something, but someone had said to me, they're like, I think it's disgusting that you can even make a top 10 rape revenge films, implying the fact that there's like obviously way too many rape revenge films out there. And I'm like, man, they're just movies, man. I try to like remind people that these are just films too. I understand these things happen in real life, but at the same time, these are films. These are films.
Did you put Clown House on that list?
Clown House is not on this list. No. No.
So no Clown House on the rape revenge list.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. No, it's not on there. But
see, you can joke
Irreversible was on my top 10 list, though.
That movie's awesome. Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems to be there's lots of good ones, but I think we got sidetracked here.
You know what? Rape was a common theme last episode. We brought it back a little.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so let me go into the film that I watched this week. I didn't really watch it this week, but who cares?
Yeah.
Unfriended from 2014 made its debut on DVD and home video in 2015. This one's very interesting. It follows a group of online chat room friends who find themselves haunted by a mysterious supernatural force using the Facebook account of their dead friend. So at the beginning of the film, we see a clip of a girl named Laura Burns who commits suicide on camera. And then we kind of pull out and we see that a girl was watching this video on like a YouTube or like a live leak or whatever. So right away, you're completely immersed in technology. Skype, Facebook, Twitter, Google, just complete. The whole movie is from the point of view of the computer, like what's happening on the screen, whether it's a Skype camera, whether it's her typing things in Facebook. And basically, the girl and a group of her friends get on Skype to chat like we are doing right now. And they see a mysterious like sixth person in the Skype chat. And they're like, hey, who the fuck is that? Hey, is that your friend? Moodz, is that your friend? What's he doing? Kick him out. And he's like, yeah, he's not my friend, dude. and they
I don't have any fucking friends, man. So this is bullshit. You already know that's bullshit.
They can't kick him out because it's just not working. So obviously it's something that they think it's like hacked, but really it's just like, supernatural or whatever. And they can't kick him out. And then he starts messaging them, or I keep saying he, but I don't know why, because it comes from her account. There's the girl who committed suicide, Laura Burns. It's coming from her account. She's on Facebook. She's like posting pictures and like sabotaging them and turning them against each other because they all sort of have this connection with her. Obviously they were a friend, but they also had something to do in her death because she was kind of a bitch. but then everybody like turned on her and she started getting cyberbullied, and then she committed suicide because she couldn't deal with that. So it kind of touches on the cyberbullying thing. It touches on the overuse of technology in our lives, and it's filmed just so interesting. Like the amount of coordination to like, it just seems like weird to me that somebody can actually like choreograph this film, because it's like the Den Moodz, but it's even more complex because there's multiple windows and they're closing this window and they're typing in Facebook and they're copy and pasting. It fucking is like what we're doing right now. It's so weird. Like, and it really kind of made me realize like, oh my God, like I knew that I had like technology in my life, but I'm actually one of those people who use technology above average. And never really thought of it that way because I've always like, oh, fucking kids always in their phone nowadays and stuff. But I'm kind of one of those people. Like, we have a fucking podcast on Skype that we do weekly. You know what I mean? We upload videos to YouTube nonstop. We're always on Facebook. We have fucking NFL polls on Facebook. So, I mean, it's like, it's weird to think of it like that. But, I mean, the film itself, very interesting, has these cool, like, scares and moments, and the story was cool. It does, to me, get into that Beneath territory where it feels like the friends start turning on each other and they're not acting like normal, like how a normal human being would respond to situations. And there's even points where it's like actually bad acting, to where it's like there's one scene where one of the kids is like getting pissed off because things are going bad, and he pulls out his gun and he's like, "This is fuck, motherfuckers," and he just starts screaming, and they're like, "Put the gun down, put the gun down." They're on Skype, dude. Like, you know what I mean? They're on Skype and they're telling him, like, put the gun down and shit. Like, so it's a little weird with stuff like that. But there's some creepy moments, a kind of a bullshit twist that doesn't lend to what the characters were previously established as. And some things that don't make sense. There's a scene where somebody shares their Skype screen, ends this and never unshares it, but starts, like, doing things that, if shared, would have caused a huge big deal. So there's like a little plot holes like that. People that are familiar with it will catch stuff like that. But overall, I did really like it. I didn't like it as much as Jeremy. It's not as good as The Den, but it's still pretty solid. I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5. What did Jeremy give that one again?
I think he gave it somewhere around an 8.5, something like that. He was pretty high.
He was like super stoked on that one. I think that he saw The Den and he said he liked it more than The Den, right?
I'm not sure, but I told him that he would like this one. As soon as I watched it, I knew that he would like it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I think he'll come around where I am with it.
Cool. All right. So I have previously talked about this director's first film. His first film was released by Artsploitation. It's called Toad Road. And I was pretty on the fence. I liked the movie. I think the ending left me a little out in left field. I don't know, man. I just, I had my little things with Toad Road, but, I liked what it was, what it was doing, like what he was trying to accomplish with the film and stuff. So I was really curious on checking out his new film. And that director's name is Jason Bachner. And his new one's called Felt. It's released by Anchor Bay, at least in Canada it is anyway. So, but I was looking forward to it because I was expecting pretty much kind of the same thing, because I could kind of see where his style was going. And it is, man. It's pretty much that very surreal, kind of realistic type filmmaking like Toad Road has in it. And, it's pretty much exactly like that. At times in this film, it's just like Toad Road. If you've seen Toad Road, it feels like a lot of things are unscripted and they're just, it's just kind of like realism. But anyways, getting into the plot of this one, basically follows your main character. I can't even remember what her name is. I think it's Amy. I think that's what her name is in the film. Yeah, it is Amy, actually, which is actually kind of cool. I think it's a real name, actually. And it's her first time acting, which is really cool too. But anyways, she's an interesting character. She's kind of dealing with a lot of sexual problems, oppression. She's had a lot of problems with, sexual tension and, just obviously just men in general. I'll just put it that way. She has issues. She's had some men problems and she just is not really into it anymore. and she's kind of a weirdo. So she kind of spaced herself from society, and she's just like saying fuck society, fuck man's world, you know, fuck all the sexual bullshit. And she starts to create these really weird alter egos and starts going out on random dates with people. Like she'll just like dress up as weird people and just do weird things and stuff. And it's kind of her way of coping with all of her kind of her sexual issues and getting away from reality by creating a new image and stuff like that. It's pretty evident what she's doing and stuff. But anyways, you know, she starts doing this a bunch in the film, and then she starts getting into she actually gets into like a serious relationship with a guy. And, you know, she starts to, you know, have really kind of weird sexual encounters with him and things like that. And then, you know what, I'll just leave the, you know, the story right there. My thoughts on this one. Yeah. If you've seen Toad Road, you pretty much know what you're getting yourself into. As for the style of filmmaking, it's very surreal. It's very like realistic, you know, it's that very kind of, it's not found footage obviously, but you know, it's that type of camera work where the characters and the dialogue feels very kind of natural and unscripted and stuff like that, which I really do enjoy. I think one of the biggest things for this film for me was the main actress. She had never done any acting before, and I think she pulled this off quite well. Really, really well done. You know, all these alter egos and, you know, the dialogue that she spits is pretty well done. The thing with the movie that really kind of brings it down for me is that it's very predictable in where the film is going. Like right from the start, you know exactly where this is going. And a lot of this has to do with the cover art for the movie. It's a fucking spoiler. The cover art is a fucking spoiler for this. So, you know, right there, you're just like, but you know,
Quarantine.
Ultimately the film, yeah, this one isn't that bad of a film. I mean, if you like Toad Road, you may like this one. I think I like Toad Road maybe about the same as this one. I'm not 100% sure. You know, I like this type of filmmaking, but at times it just feels, it comes across where, you know, it's supposed to feel so natural that almost it gets to the point where it feels like it's almost unnatural, you know, at times. And I understand like what he's trying to do with this completely. I like the messages and the themes that are being presented here. It's you know, it's good. It's you know, it's different type of filmmaking. It's creative, and you know, you're taking a lot of chances when you're making films like this, especially, you know, having actors that have never done anything, and just kind of, you can tell a lot of the stuff was unscripted too. There's a lot of weirdness in this one too that kind of kept me intrigued, but also had me shaking my head at the same time. With that said, it's very artsy. You know, this is one that Artsploitation should have released too, but you know, overall it left me again going, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I sat on this one for days and thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I was pointing out the good and pointing out the bad. And again, this one doesn't run very long. It's a short film. You know, it kind of gets into it and it gets over. And, you know, my biggest problem is with this one, it's very predictable. You know exactly where it's going. But I will recommend it. I'll loosely recommend this film. I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. I can't remember what I gave Toad Road, but it was very similar to the rating and stuff. But, you know, if you like this type of filmmaking, check it out. It's okay, in my opinion. It's okay.
Yeah,
So,
I was gonna say I actually enjoyed Toad Road. I mean, I thought that like it was crazy how like the main actress in Toad Road died right after the movie like got
Yeah, I know.
filming. It's crazy, isn't it? Like, it wasn't even released, and she like died of a drug overdose, just like the same shit she was doing in the movie. So I thought it was kind of crazy.
The fucked up thing is that she was all hooked on drugs during the making of the film, and which when you watch it now, you're like, oh fuck, that's crazy, because some of those scenes, I don't think really she was even acting. She was actually all fucked up.
Yeah, she's probably all drugged up and shit. I enjoyed Toad Road because like it reminded me somewhat of like me in high school, like going to concerts, being kind of like in a band,
Sucking
and I
dick.
think that it just like I just kind of like felt it together. But I don't know, it was a decent movie. I'd probably give it about a 5.5, 6 out of 10. But I've been really wanting to watch Felt, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny that we just had this huge conversation about rape, and the quote on here from Birth Moves .death on the front cover of this film says, "Felt gives rape culture what it deserves."
What the fuck is rape culture?
Rape culture? What the fuck is that?
That's what I was fucking just gonna say. I was gonna say, what the fuck is rape culture?
Sounds like a deep web forum.
That's fucking, like, that quote is so beyond me, but it's just funny that it has rape in it. But I don't know, man.
Is it
This
people
is
that are
definitely one of
pro-rape?
those films. What's that?
Is it people who are pro-rape? Because then we should be in rape culture.
I guess. Like, okay, I will say this movie it's definitely not for everybody, but it's definitely one of those films that you need to check out for yourself. You have to make your own opinions on this. This is just mine, and some people might like it a lot more. I mean, Toad Road is one of those films. I've heard people really enjoyed that film, and I think me and Kyle are very similar, 5.5.
I mean, it wasn't like,
I don't think it's a great film.
It wasn't anything like special. I mean, it was like cool to see. It was almost like a documentary style, like film almost. It was filmed that way, so it was different.
That's that real
stuff.
approach. It's that realism to filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's documentary style, but it's obviously scripted and stuff. But it's supposed to give the characters that natural feel, that natural element of dialogue and stuff. And you can tell a lot of that stuff is just, it's ad libbed and it's just done right on the spot. You can tell.
Is that mumblecore stuff? Isn't that what they call it, mumblecore?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So Moodz says felt predictable.
It did, man. And the worst thing about this thing is the fucking cover art, man. I'm just like, really? Like, they have to put that right on the cover art? And I'm like, I even talked to Tom Horsball about this too, and like he loved it because he was a big fan of Toad Road, and I respect that 100%. And I said to him, I was like, because I asked him, I was like, what do you think of it? And he's like, oh, I fucking loved it. And he's like, what do you think of it? And I was like, well, the cover art was a little damn predictable, and sometimes, or I mean, it was a spoiler, but the film was predictable. I was like, and sometimes predictability isn't overly the worst thing in the world, but in this case, it was just too much. I was like, okay, that's it. But I knew that was coming from the first 5 minutes of the film. I'm like, fuck, man. I was just really disappointed with it. I wanted more. I wanted a lot more, so I don't know. I will say the end is nasty. The
cover kind of reminds me of like the way it looks or the way it doesn't look just like this cover, but kind of reminds me of the cover for Inside. Like with the girl and the pregnant belly, and then like I think the cover of that has like a woman with like scissors, right, or like some hedge clippers or something. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
I seen different covers for that one. I seen like lips. I think I've seen a cover with like lips on it. Reminded me of Dead Girl.
Huh. All right, little girl Kyle, I guess you're back up there.
Oh, so we're doing another one. Let's see what I got next. My next movie will be a movie that Artsploitation released called Horror Stories. I actually just watched this before we started the podcast.
Careful on spoilers, because I want to watch this one still.
I'm not going to spoil it, I promise. I won't even really talk about the short stories in this. I'll talk a little bit about them, but I'm not going to like really go into them. This movie is released by Artsploitation. It's a Korean, I believe it's Korean. It's a Korean movie. It is kind of like the movie we're going to be reviewing later. It's a short stories movie where there's actually 4 anthology movie. Yeah, there's 4 stories in this on this movie. This movie's about 2 hours long. I think each story is about 30 minutes long, and then there's a main story for the entire movie. Basically, the whole premise of the movie, without spoiling anything, is this girl gets kidnapped at the beginning of the movie and brought to this like weird cannibalistic guy. Like he's like holding her captive, and he told her that she has to tell him horror stories that will make his blood kind of like curdle in order to put him to sleep, or he will kill her. So she goes in and tells him 4 anthology stories or short stories which make up the movie. My opinion on this, I'm not going to really, I won't even say anything about the short stories because I don't want to spoil anything. I was actually surprisingly surprised by the actual stories of how good they were. This movie is very well directed again, very well written, very well acted. This is definitely something that you can tell when you watch it that Artsploitation picked up as, it's one of those things that would probably go unnoticed unless Artsploitation picked it up. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Like, I will definitely have a review of this movie on my channel, probably within the next couple of days here, which you guys, it'll probably be up by the time the podcast is up. But these short stories about 30 minutes long. They're very, very suspenseful, very, very bloody. There's a good bit of gore and blood in this movie, and there's a lot of cliffhangers. This movie's actually kind of scary. I mean, I hate to say it, but like I jumped a few times during like some of these stories it showed. So. Highly recommend it. I would give this probably about a 7.5 out of 10. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the third I Spit on Your Grave, but I definitely enjoyed it more than most of the, it was up there as one of the top artsploitation movies I've seen so far. So, my opinion.
Cool. That's one that I do own. I haven't had a chance to check out yet. Moodz, have you seen that one?
No, I don't own that one. That has been on my list to grab for so long. I need to get it.
I love anthologies. I know Moodz does as well. I guess I'm next. The film that I'm going to talk about next is one that I figured I needed to kind of mention on the podcast. I think all three of us have actually seen this one. It is the 2015 M. Night Shyamalan written and directed film, The Visit. This is a PG-13 horror at its finest, in my opinion. Follows two kids who live with their mother, who's kind of a single mother, but she has a boyfriend now. But she kind of raised the kids by herself because the father left. She left home at a very young age. Her parents kind of had some kind of falling out, and she escapes,
19.
kind of runs away at, like Moodz said, the age of 19. She has two children. I think one's probably about 14. The other one's probably about 13, maybe, I would say. Somewhere around there, 12. And one day she gets an email from her parents, and they're like, hey, we want to see our grandkids. And because this mother didn't really have like a hatred towards her parents, they just had a falling out. She said they're good people. They just are not what she wanted. They didn't want what she wanted for her own self. So she agrees. So she sends her two kids on train in Pennsylvania, which is where I live, to her grandparents' house, or her parents' house, their grandparents' house. The kids get there. The grandparents are warm and welcoming, cookies, stuff like that. Seem very nice. And then things start turning a little weird. Things just get a little weird. The kids are kind of like, huh. But they also are, big detail that I kind of forgot. I
was just going to say.
They're recording this whole thing via like found footage style, POV. The girl wants to make a documentary. She's like an aspiring filmmaker. She feels like she's going to figure out what went wrong between her mother and her grandmother, and she's going to resolve it in her film. That's kind of her arc. And this one, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't even know it was a found footage film, and I loved it. I thought that it was extremely well done. There are some legitimate scares in this film. Like, you're not going to be like shaking in your boots, but you're going to like nod your head and be like, all right, getting a little creepy there. I see what you're doing. And there's some legitimate laughs in this film, like laugh out loud laughs. I saw this in the theater. This is the first time I went to the theater since 2013 when I seen Evil Dead. So it's been a little while. And I had a blast. It was a great time. There is a reveal in the film that I didn't see coming at all. And I was looking for it because we all know Shyamalan and what he's known for. There's this level of dark comedy, this black humor that is right up my alley. It's the exact humor that I like usually. Now, the little brother character is very annoying. He's written as an annoying character, so I don't see that as a complaint. I know that our homie Zach was like, that was one of his biggest complaints is the little brother is annoying as shit. I don't really see that as a complaint if he's supposed to be annoying. He's written as an annoying character. He's an annoying little brother. He like raps and stuff. A little ridiculous. Terrible rapper, by the way. But still funny. Creepy grandmother, man. She's really creepy. I mean, I guess I could let you guys chime in too. What do you guys think? Moodz?
Yeah, I was actually quite impressed with it, considering I really do not care for M. Night Shyamalan's films whatsoever. This one kind of took me by surprise. I was quite impressed on how they actually, did the film. I think there was a couple scenes where they might have fucked up a little bit with like who was actually filming at one time. I know there's a scene where the brother and sister, they're looking on the computer and stuff, and they didn't have the other camera set up. They're actually, they're kind of watching some footage and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, who the fuck is filming this? Because the whole film is filmed by them, because they pretty much have a camera each, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different angles, and that was a good idea actually that they put into the film, that they actually incorporated 2 cameras, because then you get that realism of, multiple angles and editing like that. So that actually works. So it's not just one camera. It's not like a found footage one camera, shot film where there's tons of plot holes with, we can talk to death on those. Yeah. But there is a couple scenes. But I thought overall they did a really good job with the editing and how it was done, and there wasn't really a lot of screw ups and stuff. But I will admit though, the twist in the film I didn't actually see coming either. I thought it was really well done how they revealed it too.
Yeah.
I loved how they revealed it. It actually, me and Dylan, my buddy Dylan, we went and saw it together, and we kind of looked at each other and went, "Oh fuck, that's pretty fucking good."
Yeah, we did too. Yeah, the people that I went with did too. And like you said, the actual what's happening is effective because of how they showed it, right? That you said that. And it's also the placement, because it happens, I'm not going to say when in the film, but it happens at a time where you feel like it makes sense and it actually adds to the story. I will say, like what you said though, the biggest complaints about that found footage stuff is it's unrealistic at times, right? There's points, and it's the same with all of them. There's points where you're just going to say nobody would film there. Nobody would be still filming.
Yeah.
So there are those moments. I've seen some films kind of,
but he even incorporated a scene where I thought was actually clever, even though it is like a jump scare scene. It's where the sister scared the brother, where she actually set the camera up on the other side of the room, and she knew that he'd be walking by this door, and then, a little spoiler, whatever, but she, does a little scare tactic to him, but she sets the camera up perfectly, and, I thought that was actually kind of well done, because it just kind of showcased, their, like how what the technique in the film is and stuff. And a lot of it was executed pretty well.
There's one scene that I feel like really kind of showcases the extent, or the, like how good Shyamalan can be, but he doesn't know how to utilize that all the time, and it's the oven scene. Like, let's be real, dude. That was an effective scene. Like, the way they did that might not make the most sense in the world, because, like, who has ovens where you can, like, sit on the, like, the lid, the drawer part, but I mean, it's an effective, like, creepy ass, like, old school type horror scene.
Yeah. You gotta admit though, if you can climb right into an oven that deep, like, that's a big fucking oven too, man. Yeah. What the hell is that thing, man?
I know, it's like it's like one of those ovens that they like cremate people in or something.
Yeah. Remind me of Phantasm. So what did you think, Kyle?
I liked the movie. I thought it was probably, other than Unbreakable, Shyamalan's best film. I mean, I really do not like him at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I really just don't like Shyamalan at all. Like, when I hear an M. Night Shyamalan movie's coming out, the first thing that comes to my mind is shit. But I saw this movie and I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I found it very entertaining. I mean, it had some very creepy moments, like you said, some very jump scare moments. It was definitely a shy away from like most of the stuff that he does. I mean, I don't think he's ever really done a found footage movie that I could think of. At least I don't remember any. So it was kind of like his delve into that genre of horror. I don't feel like Shyamalan is going to be the next like Wes Craven or anything.
Absolutely not.
But at the same time, I feel like he puts things out. People give him a lot of shit. He's still doing his thing. He's still trying. So, but the movie overall itself, it was the acting was good. I mean, it wasn't like really bad acting or anything for the kids or anything. The grandparents actually were great actors. Surprisingly, they were very creepy.
That ass though.
Oh, that grandma ass though, man. She would have got.
I know, right?
The hardcore, bro. I don't know what was up with that. Damn, she got the face of a 60-year-old, but the ass of a 19-year-old. I'll tell you that. But as creepy as that sounds, but I don't know, man. Like I enjoyed it. I would give that movie probably about a 6 out of 10 or something. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Man. I wouldn't revisit it though. I probably wouldn't buy it or revisit it.
I saw that.
He would not revisit The Visit.
Oh.
I saw that ass, man, and I started digging into my jelly bellies even more, man. It made me so hungry.
He wanted to eat the.
I'm like,
booty.
those fucking those are
Oh,
fucking
come
those
on.
things are pain in the ass because you want to eat them one by one. I'm like, I just want to stuff them in my mouth, man. That made me fucking. I was so
That
hungry.
ass made Moodz want to go to fucking Walmart and get some groceries.
All right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. The grandparents were awesome in the film,
Mhm.
and getting back to the the brother. I actually, I know that he was written as an annoying character, and that's how he was and stuff. But to be honest, I wasn't actually overly annoyed with him. I don't know why.
Yeah, I
guess
wasn't
maybe I was
either,
just-
but
I wasn't annoyed with him because he was written that way. I mean,
he's a cute
he's
little
a little
kid, man.
kid.
He's just
that's what it was.
he's
If
funny.
you have a child, you understand that's how kids are. If you've been around teenagers or kids that are in middle school,
Yeah,
that's how they
all the
are.
ones I have locked in my basement act the same way.
I bet they do.
All that screaming and yelling, eh? Fuck. Shit, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a huge surprise for me. Like you guys, I'm not a huge fan of Shyamalan. I do find his career interesting because when he made like The Sixth Sense and then Unbreakable or whatever, like everybody was like, this is the next Steven Spielberg. This is the future of film. Like this guy's a genius. Tarantino got nothing on him.
Well, I guess he has
And then
Bruce-
just
because he has Bruce, what's
nosedive
his name,
harder
Willis's
than
movie.
anybody. He nosedived harder than anybody ever. And he never recovered. And he's now doing these indie type things, which I think is cool. I liked his film The Devil within the elevator, but he only written that one. Somebody else directed it. So I think this is a return to, well, I didn't really like any of his films besides Devil. So, I mean, I think he's doing better than he was. So I that's good for him. But I give this one 8 out of 10. To me, this is like proof, once again, Jeremy, that PG-13 horror can work. It can work.
Yeah, I give that one a 7.5 out of 10. I did like the music. I thought there was some pretty good, almost atmospheric scenes in it. Like, I don't know what it was, man. There was just certain scenes that I actually thought it had a pretty good vibe.
It's that
Not
Pennsylvania
like-
life.
Not like Italian atmosphere or anything, but there was just certain things about him that just kind of kept me intrigued. And I don't know, there was something about it, man. I guess maybe my expectations were so fucking low that I like it a lot more. I don't know what it is, man. It's hard to say, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. So,
No doubt.
well, since you're a fucking asshole, JP's a fucking asshole and stole my other review.
Did I
guess have to
really?
grab another fucking, oh yeah. Well, because remember I said I'm probably gonna have to talk about films I'd fucking.
I had no
already
idea,
reviewed
but I
this
said
week.
that too. I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to too.
But yeah, well, I never talked about Felt, and this is another one I had sitting here. Anyways, I guess I'll just talk about this one. I actually posted this on the group page as a joke, and I ended up watching it and stuff. It's fucking okay. From this 2014, it just came out on media 2015, and I only grabbed this because I was super fucking bored, and I saw the title, and I was like, okay, got to read the synopsis, and it's called Paranormal Island. Paranormal Island. Yeah, I read the synopsis. Actually, the thing that got my attention on this one is that Lance Henriksen was in this film, and I was like, you know what? I'm willing to check out anything with my boy Lance, so why not, right? Knowing this is probably just going to be a raging diarrhea stain, so. And, it had a supernatural slasher kind of element to it, but anyways, it's basically about these three college kids. They get an opportunity to go and basically get jobs, like bartend at this bar that's on, like, in the middle of a lake. It's like this little kind of mini city that's in the middle of a lake. I kind of like the premise. I think that's kind of cool, actually. It's like this little community that's in the middle of the lake, kind of like a huge fucking lake. Anyways, they get this opportunity to go out there and do their thing and stuff. But of course, there's a history there, and now it's haunted. And this vengeful, spirit is, out for revenge. And, obviously, at the end of one night, they miss the boat off the island, and of course they're stranded on this fucking island, and of course they start getting picked off one by one. Very, very typical type setup. Man, this movie's executed absolutely horribly. It's just I don't know what it is about the cues in this film, but it's just like it's just like they were going through the motions. We're just gonna edit this shit together, and this is what we got. Yeah, that'll work. We'll put that out. That's what it felt like. Really poorly written, man, and some of the worst annoying fucking characters ever in this film. Like, nobody is cool. Like nobody's fucking cool. Lance Henriksen's in the film for like maybe 3 minutes, of course, right? But all the characters in this film are beyond annoying. They make the worst decisions ever. Like, okay, there's a scene where this supernatural slasher is chasing this guy down this dock, because that's what you what you have there is just docks, because it's like an island, right? Anyways, he decides that he can actually swim out to this boat after, this supernatural spirit has been knocking things off, and they can't see it, right? You have to know that you're not going to beat that spirit to this boat. Right? Or you're gonna get fucked up in the the process. Well, of course he tries and shit doesn't go so well. But I'm just like, these decisions are so fucking stupid in the movie. Nobody would ever jump in the water. It's fucking stupid. To make things worse, the kills in this film are horrible. They're fucking horrible. There's really no gore, and it's just it's all around a raging piece of shit. There's nothing redeemable about this film whatsoever. I think it was actually pretty damn short. I can't remember how long. Maybe it was like it was like 80 minutes. So, and like I think like half the movie is just these annoying characters drinking and being annoying, and the dialogue is straight up shitty and stupid, and there's just nothing redeemable about this film whatsoever. This one gets a solid 1.5 out of 10. It's really a raging piece of shit. Like I said,
a solid 1.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
A solid stain of a 1.5 out of 10. There's just nothing good about even the music in the movie sucks, man. And like, oh fuck, man.
Wild Eye release it?
Oh my god. No, this is released by.
I'm just joking.
Wild Eye. No, I don't even know who the fuck releases, man. This is like Worldwide VMI Syngem. I don't know. Fuck, who knows?
Somebody's rich
Terrible.
father released it.
It's an absolutely
yeah, pretty much.
But it sucks too, man, because I do like the idea of going to party like on this little, this little fucking party island, but it's like it's kind of like it's like a little community. It's kind of cool, man. But they fucked it up. They fucked it up big time.
Brought to you by the same people that made Scream Park.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Featuring Doug Bradley.
Yeah. That was fucked.
So, I don't know, Kyle. You don't have a segment, do you?
No. How many? I thought we were doing 3 movies.
Yeah. Well, it's the third thing is always the segment.
No, I don't have a segment then.
All right.
What do you mean segment? Well, what are you guys doing?
Well, we have different. Like Moodz has an Italian Stallion. That's where he reviews an Italian film. Jeremy has.
I actually don't this week. It's
me neither.
Pick of the week.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a pick of the week as well. So I guess I'll go. So my pick of the week this week is all the way back from the year 1921. Of course, I'm talking about The Phantom Carriage. This film was talked about twice before.
Sucks.
Yeah, Moodz gave it a 10 out of 10. Jeremy gave it a 10 out of 10. I thought that this was going to be one of those situations where it's like, okay, like it's probably pretty good, but like Jeremy's probably just being pretentious. But then when Moodz, then when Moodz like reviewed it, and he
Moodz
also
is overrating
agreed,
it.
And then I was like, well, Moodz likes everything, so maybe Jeremy influenced him. But then I was like, no, Moodz really doesn't get that influenced by people, so maybe it is pretty good. Doubt it's a 10, but I'll probably like it. So I really just did expect it to be like this pretentious bullshit because it's French and Jeremy. So I watched it, and it follows a. So the Phantom Carriage follows a carriage, right? And this carriage is kind of like the Grim Reaper, and every year at midnight, at the end of the year, the last person to die of the year has to then take over for the previous person who was the driver of the carriage. But it's also somebody who has an incredible amount of sin in their life, somebody who is unapologetic about the way they've done things, somebody who's like really just hurt people around them and did all these bad things. So this guy dies, and he's forced to be the new Phantom, the Grim Reaper, and he's forced to travel the earth and pick up souls of those who died. Yet he's only doing it for a year, but I think they say in the story that 1 hour or 1 day feels like 100 years to them, which is just crazy because then you multiply and it's like that feels like an eternity that they would be doing it for. And you know, it's kind of reminded me of like a Christmas Carol type thing where he has to see, like, come face to face with all of the things that he's done wrong, because the previous Phantom was actually somebody that he knew. So he's going to be taking over for him, and he's like forced to look head on at all the terrible things that he's done in his life, and he's forced to deal with them. And that's opposite of who he was, because he was the type of person that would never deal with them. He would ignore everything that he did wrong. He would just, you know, turn the other cheek, kind of like ignore everything that he's done bad to people. And it's honestly such a sophisticated film. And that's the word that I used in my review on my channel, sophisticated, because the storytelling is just, it's like incredible for 1921, because it actually is like a cohesive like narrative of like all these different arcs, and there's you know, a serious nature to the message, and it's like, I was like just blown away at the amount of sophistication, and not only the story. And now this is a silent black and white film, but also the technique, like the overlay. I think it's like overlays that they use with the carriage, like in the like sea, like driving through the sea, like it's like a phantom. Like the carriage looks like a ghost, and it's like cool how they did that. It, you know, honestly, I didn't even realize at times I was watching a silent film. Like I can read the emotion from the actors. Like I could tell what they were saying, what they were doing, without even needing to read the title cards. And I thought that was so awesome, because I'd seen the Phantom of the Opera silent film and Nosferatu and stuff, and I never really got that sense as much as I did in this. And this was like the first silent film that I was truly able to like immerse myself in and not like notice that I was watching a silent film. So I was goddamn impressed with this one. Some of it is like a little choppy in terms of editing and like story flow, but it's expected. But I still think you have to point that out if you're gonna critique a movie. And it did have like an odd flow at times, but it's excusable. I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. That means that Moodz rated it a 10 out of 10, Jeremy rated it a 10 out of 10. I rated it a 9.5 out of 10 for a combined rating of 29.5, which does make our Hall of Fame. So it is the newest member of our Hall of Fame, the Phantom's Carriage, 1921, right?
Yeah. That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I
finally got around to...
I didn't expect it. Oh. And thanks so much to Dylan for hooking me up with that Blu-ray for free. Criterion Collection. I mean, goddamn. Something from 1921 looking that good. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man. Both of you guys got Blu-rays from Dylan, didn't you?
I got two. He also sent me Rosemary's Baby.
It's fucking sick, man.
I know. I love him.
So, unfortunately, I don't have an Italian Stallion this week, but I'm going to be reviewing a film that I actually did on Body Bags. This is actually, I think, the first time I've ever reviewed something on the podcast that I actually made a video for. But been busy, so whatever. I'm not going to make any excuses. This one's from Wild Eye Releasing, and it's called A Plague So Pleasant. It's from 2015. Of course, it is a zombie film. When I first saw this film, or saw the cover art for it, I was like, fuck, I don't know, man. Another zombie film. Okay, it is what it is, you know, I'll check it out. But to my amazement, it actually was a pleasant surprise. I know it's a bad joke, but it is kind of true, though. This one kind of takes place in the future a little bit. It never does specify what year it takes place in. The thing that's odd about this film, it's like, you know, humans are, you know, going about their everyday lives like you normally would. The thing is, zombies walk the streets just free, and you just kind of live your life normal. And the reason why they walk the streets is because they're protected. The reason why the zombies are protected in society is because they figured out during the zombie apocalypse, like a year before, that if they stopped being violent towards the zombies, they would actually stop attacking. So once they stopped being, you know, doing violent things to the zombies, they actually stopped attacking humans. So they just do whatever. They just fucking walk around and they don't attack humans. So I thought that was actually kind of an interesting premise. The thing is, where the story kind of goes from there is, about, just humans and their emotions and stuff. One of your characters here, he's having a hard time dealing with the loss of his brother. He's a zombie and he's walking around the streets, and you know how we are, like, we want to have proper burials for our loved ones and stuff like that. And he doesn't like to see, his brother walking around the streets all dead and as a zombie and stuff. So he takes it upon himself to actually go out there and shoot him and kill him. And that's the thing about this movie that's kind of interesting. It's not really explained, but I'll get to that in a minute. So if you do any type of violent acts towards zombies, like just one or whatever, they somehow have some kind of weird communication with each other. And if you kill one, they attack. And it's for like a certain length of time. So this guy goes out there, shoots his brother in the head to put him out of his misery, and the zombie apocalypse just starts happening again. So now it's, society against these zombies. My thoughts on this film is that I thought it was a really, really fresh idea. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of an interesting premise for a film. The thing that's really cool about the film is that this movie has like a $3,000 budget. It does not fucking look like that. Cinematography, the settings, the multiple settings that they use in this film is just fantastic. Even the way the zombies looked was pretty cool. It's kind of reminiscent of, what you'd see like in The Walking Dead. Maybe like not as good, but pretty well done, but very, very well shot. And I kind of like the premise though, man. It's just, you live in your everyday lives and you got these zombies around you, and, you can kind of feel the emotion in the characters too, which was nice. It was decently written. I mean, it's not like the most mind-blowing idea in the world, but it's different. It's different. It's not your typical zombie apocalypse film with full of CG and shit like that. All the effects are practical. And, there's one interesting thing about this film. It actually has like the longest siren, I think, ever in film history, man. It goes on for like 15, 20 minutes, like that, that evacuation, the siren that, that'll happen in these apocalypses and shit. But pretty cool film though. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. There's actually like a huge chunk of the film where there's absolutely no dialogue whatsoever. It's literally following this main character, and he's, after he shoots his brother, he's escaping, and there's like no dialogue. It's just scene after scene of him running away and dealing with these zombies, because you don't want to do anything violent to them. You want to stay free. You don't want to try and kill anybody. You just want to let them go, do their thing, and then let them stop, because they stop attacking after like a certain time period. I thought it was pretty interesting. So he's just like running away, but it takes you through this journey all through the city, and it's pretty well shot. And I had a lot of fun with this film. It's not very long. Again, it only runs like 75 minutes, but it was effective. It was actually quite effective, and I do recommend this film. So, like I said, not really a whole lot more to say about it, but what did I give this film? I think I gave this one I gave it like a solid 7 out of 10. It's a pretty interesting film, so check it out, man. In a genre that's very, kind of boring sometimes, to be honest. This one felt fresh. It felt fresh. Pretty cool film. So, yeah. Wild Eye actually hitting the mark with, one of their films for once. I don't really like to talk shit about them too much, but how it goes. Right, guys? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying, dog.
But you said you have this one?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, well, you didn't look impressed when I was talking about it.
I wasn't paying attention.
No?
No,
okay.
I'm sorry. It's like 3 a.m.
He said, JP said I have to return some videotapes.
What a fucking dick. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. You're a fucking dick.
I actually didn't hear a single
Jeremy
word
is right, man. You're a
it.
fucking asshole.
Dude, 3 a.m, bro. 3:15. It gets rough. Around these parts.
All right. Alrighty, so that is going to conclude what we watched portion of the show,
and segments.
And segments, yes, and moving along into the featured review for episode 58 here on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. show, we are going to be talking about one that we've, like I said on the top of the show, we mentioned a few times over the course of the year and stuff. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's got an interesting premise. Like I said before, it's kind of on the lines in the vein of Trick or Treat, interwoven anthology film from 10 different directors, 10 shorts, and it's called Tales of Halloween from 2015. Yeah. So,
minor
to be
spoilers.
honest,
Minor spoilers. Let's get that out of the way. There will probably be spoilers.
I think basically it's kind of hard to talk about these shorts without giving spoilers because
they're like
they are
10
so short.
minutes long each. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna it's not gonna ruin any of them for you because there's honestly not that many surprises anyway. So I don't think that will affect your enjoyment or non-enjoyment of this film. But we want to throw it out there.
Exactly.
So I guess the first thing is this all takes place in one town, and there's a bunch of bad things happening on Halloween, and that's kind of your story. There's not really a
it's basically 10 different shorts that are happening in various places all over one city in the same night. That's what it is. And there's some interwoven characters throughout the film. Obviously, one thing I noticed in the film, you see Night of the Living Dead playing on multiple TVs and multiple shorts.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So you got that thing kind of happening. So again, relatable to Trick or Treat. One thing I will say right off the top, the opening credits in this film with the music were fantastic, man. The animation and the cool music and stuff. It fucking hooked me right away. I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I pressed play, I was like, shit, man, this is awesome. I was loving it right away. I love those type of, animated, cool music. It right away reminded me of Night of the Demons, not because just the structure of it, just the music and the animation and stuff. Reminded me of Night of the Demons right away. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking love this. It's fucking awesome. So, yeah. I guess we can break this down by shorts.
Let's start off with Sweet Tooth, directed by Dave Parker, who directed The Hills Run Red. So what's this one about?
All right. This one was about Timmy, a little boy named Timmy. He was not allowed to go he went out trick-or-treating. He's about a little boy and he go down trick-or-treating and stuff. The thing was, he wasn't allowed to eat his candy.
Yep.
He's being babysat by his sister and her boyfriend, I believe, or a babysitter. Yeah, it was a babysitter and her boyfriend. And they start telling him a story about this kid who wasn't allowed to eat his candy. And basically in the story, the kid was not allowed to eat his candy. His parents wouldn't let him, but he saw his parents eating all his candy and having sex and shit. So he's all pissed off. So he tied him up and then killed him. And he ate all his candy, but he didn't have any more candy left. So he ate the candy from inside.
Ate the candy out of their bodies. Yeah.
I thought it was funny, how he comes downstairs and these people are bathing in candy and fucking. It's like, what the fuck? Who the hell does that? But it was so it went along with the theme. But he's sitting there creeping down the stairs and his parents are or the babysitter and the babysitter's boyfriend, whoever they were sitting there with candy in their mouths and they're making out with candy and then they start having sex and he's just sitting there creeping like a little creep. Yeah. And he's so pissed off because he can't have the candy. It's just so funny. That was so awesome. I don't know. He's told the story's told, and he's told the legend of the little kid in the main story. The little kid that's being told the story is being told the story of Sweet Tooth, and then a bunch of shit happens after he's told the story. I don't know we're not giving out spoilers. So I don't want to say anything. So
basically the legend of Sweet Tooth. Is it real? Maybe. And that's kind of the thing there. Like Moodz said, Night of the Living Dead plays through some of these. This is the first one where we see it. I actually thought it was a really good vibe with the couple, the babysitter and her boyfriend, kind of just chilling on the couch, eating a bunch of candy, watching Night of the Living Dead. It was kind of a throwback. People don't really do that much anymore. Nobody says Night of the Living Dead and chill. You know what I mean?
It was kind of like an homage to Night of the Living Dead. It was in almost close to a lot of these short stories. So it's the directors are really big fans of that movie. So
well, these are all horror guys, so it makes sense.
Yeah, obviously. So I mean, I don't know. It was pretty cool.
So I will say that. Did you guys catch the Carpenter bar?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The fucking candy bar called Carpenter Bar is so good.
Yeah, that was definitely awesome.
Nice little touch, man. I was glad to see in this in the short that it wasn't CG'd and stuff. Because I looked up, who Dave Parker was and stuff. He had actually directed The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Run Red.
The Hills Run Red. Okay, yeah, it's fucking late. It's fucking late.
See?
Yeah, the Hills Run Red. That's what I meant to say. Because we did The Hills Have Eyes last week. You know what I mean? The Hills Run Red. And of course, the thing with that movie right there was, the hit and miss kind of, CG and shit like that. So right when I saw his name tag to the short, I was like, fuck. Okay, here we go. But no, I was surprised to see that the effects were, practical and stuff. I think throughout the whole anthology there wasn't really a lot of CG, was there? For gore effects and stuff at all. There was some CG in there. Yeah. But it would, maybe some clay animation and stuff. I don't know. But for the most part it was all practical. But that was cool to see. It was actually, this was decently gory. This one was decently gory.
I was gonna say it was pretty gory, and like the actual with most of these shorts, there's going to be a bad guy. The actual bad guy or the monster, whatever you want to call it, it was actually very good looking. I mean, I thought it was like for the most part, it was creepy. It reminded me of Night Flyer. Like I just recently watched that movie, and it kind of reminded me of like the same looking kind of guy, like in this short. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. One thing I will say about this one is it's the beginning of a theme. And the theme is comedy. It definitely has sort of this over-the-top comedic tone to it.
I think that's what you get with these anthology movies, though. It's more, it's always going to be a background of comedy with these anthology movies. I mean, if you're related to Trick or Treat, man, I mean, with the fat kid and his puking, I mean, there's definitely elements of comedy in there. I was kind of expecting that, but I don't think this was by far the most comedic one.
No,
by any means.
No.
But like, I think even as a whole, I think the way this anthology kind of breaks down, there's, it's not like over the top or anything. So with the comedy and shit. But do you guys think that, I don't know, was Timmy, like, I think he was supposed to be playing, like, how old of a kid do you think he was supposed to be playing in there?
I would say about 10 or 11.
It was weird because I thought that he was supposed to be younger, and I was like, man, he seems like he's way too big for his age.
Yeah, I'm very bad with like how old kids are or supposed to be. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, it was weird. I just thought he was too big for his age. I don't know.
He looked like he was like in probably like second or third grade, I would guess.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Overall, what'd you guys think of that one? Okay, good, awesome, super great.
I thought it was pretty good, actually. I like Sweet Tooth. I like the whole idea. The whole premise of it is ridiculous, but pretty fun, actually. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Kind of reminds me of Krampus, sort of like the Krampus story, Like, that's kind of like an urban legend or myth with Christmas, and sort of the same thing.
Well, it's the Hallows Eve, like I'm gonna tell you a scary story type thing, and I like the atmosphere.
It's a good way to start. Yeah,
I liked the chilling on the couch, eating candy, watching The Night of the Living Dead, and I like the scene where it's like, and so what do you think he did when he needed more candy? That scene was cool, but other than that, like I thought it was decent. I thought this one was decent.
Yeah, it was decent.
So, next up.
All right. So short 2 is The Night Billy Raised Hell, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman.
From Saw 2, 3, 4, the Genetic Opera, Repo the Genetic Opera, and Devil's Carnival 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool.
Yeah, this one was about a kid who was trick-or-treating, and he was with his sister and I think her boyfriend.
Her asshole boyfriend?
Yeah, and they're like, let's egg the old man, whoever's house who doesn't celebrate Halloween. He's such a dick.
Well, it's like a tradition. They apparently do that every year on that house.
Yeah, because dude's a dick and doesn't decorate for Halloween, doesn't leave his porch light on, doesn't leave a Take One bowl, none of that. And the little brother's like, I don't know, man. That seems a little crazy. And he's like, well, Billy, I guess I'm just going to have to tell everybody you pissed your pants. he's like, I didn't piss my pants. He's like, so? I'm gonna tell everybody you pissed your pants.
Kind of like, who the fuck's gonna believe you?
Yeah, who the fuck's gonna believe you, Billy? And so he goes to do it, and the dude opens the door, and he pulls Billy in there, and it's creepy as shit, and he got devil horns, and he's like, well, you know, you shouldn't have done that, little boy. And then we see Billy dressed in his devil's costume, and the guy starts leading him around town, wreaking havoc, robbing stores, killing people, murder and mayhem. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And this one's totally played for comedy.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking devil's advocate, man.
I really enjoyed this one because, I mean, I don't know. Even though it had a lot of comedy going on with it, like, I don't know. I just liked the premise of it. I thought it was pretty cool. And the guy that played, like, the guy that was, like, manipulating Billy, like, he was, like, really cool, like, really funny, you know, quirky. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's cartoon effects, like literal cartoon effects, like
Yeah.
you know, like piano, like while they're walking and stuff. It's very over the top.
It's very.
But I actually did find this one very funny and entertaining because
I thought the end was fucking hilarious, too.
yeah, I love the
Yeah,
ending to this one. I
the
thought
end
this
was
one had
funny.
one of the best endings out of the few shorts, and I did like just the different things that you were seeing them do. And he was like, you know, can I have your autograph or something? You know, he finds that like the guy's just funny. He's like sleazeball, just like murder and mayhem. It's any like scenes in particular that you guys liked in this one?
I liked the scene where the car was pulled up in the alley and had the lights on, and they were like spray painting like the like under this bridge, or I don't know where they really
It was like
were.
a garage door or something.
Like garage or something, and then like
Yeah.
you know, it just looked it was like really kind of retro, but like at
Yeah.
the same time it was really funny. I don't know, I really like that part of it.
It was like Billy
Yeah, it was
owns
actually pretty
Halloween
good.
or something. It's-
Yeah.
yeah, but good.
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty fun. I thought this one was pretty fun.
I think the
actually.
ending is like like this one feels extra short to me. Like I don't know I don't know the time limits of each one, but to me this one felt like it went by really fast because it was just, you know, very entertaining, and it's just the title is perfect. The Night Billy Raised Hell, and it's a good one, and the reveal really kind of also definitely adds a little bit to it, like the ending, what happens. So that's the third short.
The third short is Trick, directed by Adam Gershis. I don't know how to say his name.
Night of the Demons remake.
And he did Toolbox Murders remake.
Yeah,
Wait a
that's
minute.
where I recognize the name from. That's
Didn't
where I
Toby
recognize the name
Hooper
from.
do the Toolbox Murders remake?
He did the Toolbox Murders in 2004, whatever that was. Oh, I take that back. He was an actor in the Toolbox Murders. He was Ned Lundy.
I was
Oh.
just looking at this. I'm like, oh,
No, I'm
name
looking
right
at. I
there.
was looking at. I wasn't looking at it right. He's an actor and he's a director, and he actually acted in that movie. So
oh, this is the guy that directed Fertile Ground too. Night of the Demons remake. Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
Trick. This is the
Yeah,
one
this-
where
thi-
we have the group of adults chilling, watching Night of the Living Dead, smoking some weed, kind of partying, answering the door for trick-or-treaters. Right? Correct? That's the right one?
yep.
Yep, that's right.
So,
And then
what
I don't even know how
happens,
to
Bill?
talk about this one.
what happens?
I don't even know how to talk about this one. I don't know. Trick or treaters are coming there. Buddy asked. I actually like the part where Buddy asked the mom. He's like, "Hey, you want a drink?" She's like, "No."
Yeah, that shit was
He
funny.
just
dude.
randomly
Yeah.
asked for a fucking
Like
drink.
I can see myself doing that. That's why that shit's funny. Hey, you want a rum and coke real quick? No. Fuck you.
This
I don't
one
know,
is...
man. Fuck.
Basically
this
what
one's-
happens is that the kids start attacking these people on Halloween night, these adults. They start murdering them in good ways, actually, gruesome ways. This one was like my favorite one until the reveal ending, which I thought was completely stupid.
I actually kind of like the ending. Like, I'm not going to say what the ending
I
was,
didn't
but
really
I
have
kind
any
of liked
problems.
that. I thought it was pretty, like, interesting because, like, it built up to it. Like, the parents were, like, these kind of, like, laid-back people. They're really, like, you know, they were like, you know, we are when we hang out. They just, like, talk. They were drinking. They were, you know, playing a game. And all these trick-or-treaters are coming to the house. And this, you know, one trick-or-treater comes and ends up, doesn't really give away anything, but stabs this dude, and then all this stuff happens. So
Great scene. Great scene.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was executed perfectly too. I was like, because I didn't really know it was coming. I was like, okay. And then I was like, bam! I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and there's one thing in particular that I thought was just really great. There's a shot where this woman is like walking out of the house, and the camera goes up over the wall, out by the pool, and it's like this long shot where it just follows her like out of the house, and that looks really good.
I like the
yeah, was that Tiffany?
I like the scene where it showed like her in the background by the pool, after everything happened. And I'm not going to like give away what happens at this scene, but I like that scene because it was like a long shot from the inside of the house where like the stuff was going on the inside of the house, and then you see what's going on by the pool in the back. Like honestly, the scenery of this short was very well made.
I liked it.
Like
it was laid back. It was cool. It was chill.
Yeah, the house was very well put, and like everything was like perfectly executed around the house, so it was really nice.
Yeah. The few problems I had with the ending, I felt like it just didn't feel right in terms of like it was completely like unbelievable, and also the way that they
I think that's how it's supposed to make you feel, though.
It to me it's like it's just not clever. It's just I don't know. It feels like they don't even need a twist. You don't need a twist.
I was really kind of
killing them, dude.
I was actually surprised by it, and I thought personally that it was I thought it was executed fine. I mean, I thought it was executed the way that it probably should have been.
If I could reveal it, I could totally dismantle it, but I'm not going to because that would be
I wasn't I wasn't like overly stoked about it, and I was kind of like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best.
I was like,
I was actually disappointed.
I do agree with that. Like, you don't technically need the twist for that.
There's no reason for it.
But that's the thing with these shorts.
That's
the thing with these shorts. Generally, they always have some type of twist to it.
I feel like this guy was just like, man, I gotta end it like really cool. I gotta think outside the box, and then he just, I don't know. To me, it didn't work for me.
I really didn't mind it though. I didn't really mind it.
All right.
I mean, with these shorts, you can't really delve into them too far because they're shorts. You know what I mean? I mean, it just happens.
Yeah, but the scenes before that twist were really good. Like this was one of the better shot and just.
Oh yeah, better directed ones in this whole
kills and everything. Just
anthology,
really well done up until that twist for me personally. Then we have what's next, Moodz?
Short number 4, which is Weak and the Wicked, directed by Paul Solet. This was a strange one. I thought this one. I don't even know how I even feel about this one still.
The Weekend, Paul Solet, of course, from Grace, and a movie that Moodz recently talked about, which is Dark Summer.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to this one too because I really liked Dark Summer. I thought it was fantastic, and of course we talked about Grace before. Grace was fun, but yeah, this one was strange. I don't even know how to talk about this one.
So basically what happens is it's kind of set in like, I guess you would say like the bad part of town, this is just where like nobody really goes. Like it's kind of dominated by like teenage punks, like street kids. And
so you have like this badass chick and like these her two kind of lackeys with her.
This one feels removed from the town. Like it doesn't feel like this would be part of that town.
That's exactly what I thought.
This feels
too.
like a futuristic like punk era or something, like where like crime is at an all-time high. Almost honestly like Toby Hooper's Dance of the Dead from Masters of Horror. Like I kind of felt like that a little bit. And basically there's this girl who has like they have like, dressed in black, badass like bandanas, like fucking spike bracelets or whatever. And they start, picking on people and like grabbing people up, drinking, fucking hitting them with bats or whatever. And there's this kid who, comes up and stops them, and then they chase him on a bike. And they go back to a certain area of the town where it's revealed that something had happened there a few years previously or whatever. And that's kind of your story there. I actually like this one. I just thought that the scenes where they like are riding on the bikes and like there's a couple shots where it's very atmospheric. There's fog and the moon and like lighting looks good and stuff. Overall, in terms of story though,
Yeah, I thought that was the best thing about
Yeah,
it was the shots, like the atmosphere that it was creating, and then kind of, the end of it happens, and I was like, well, I actually kind of laughed at it, to be honest.
I did too.
Actually,
Yeah, I was
had
gonna
a good
say
laugh at it,
the
but I was like,
atmosphere and the
it just
setting
like-
was what made this.
yeah, like there was really nothing else to this at all. I was just like, okay.
This was honestly
just
one
kinda
of the
left me
worst
going-
ones, in my opinion.
It just kind of left me going, okay, next. That's really,
yeah.
I don't really have a lot to say about this one.
Okay, next.
Yeah. Short
Pretty
number
much.
5, Grim Grinning Ghost, directed by Excel Carolyn. This
I don't know
one's
who
starring
that
Lynn
is.
Shay.
Yeah,
I'm
this
not
one's
really
starring Lynn Shay. She tells a ghost story about the grim grinning ghost, I guess. And then her daughter, is that her daughter, that she leaves the Halloween party? And this one's honestly a little forgettable for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is very forgettable, to be honest.
It's just about
basically this one right here completely felt like a complete filler, and it's oddly enough right in the middle of the entire anthology too. And I was like, okay, this totally felt like filler. This one does actually have some really good atmosphere. Her daughter, I think it is her daughter, after Lynn Shay is hosting this Halloween party, it apparently ends pretty early. I don't know how you break it down in terms of time, but anyways, her daughter leaves, her car breaks down, and then some shit happens to her.
Yeah.
But I thought that, like, I thought the scene where she's walking down the street, down the road, and you see the overhanging trees and the fucking atmosphere and the smoke. I thought it was actually really, really decent, to be honest. But I'm not gonna lie, man. The end of this one, fuck, seriously, it just felt like a total cop out.
Yeah.
Not cop out, but it just it's like kind of like a jump scare end, and the whole thing just felt like filler to me, and just move along.
So
there's not really anything to say about this one. It's really hard to talk about. But
only two things, or the only thing I took away from this was that, well, as far as the director goes, apparently I just saw that the only thing that I noticed that she was in or directed, she was in Doomsday, the movie Doomsday. She was an actor or actress. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. But like the only thing that I took away from this short was the scene where she was walking down the road, like Mood said, and that thing was behind her. It kind of reminded me of that scene from Nightmare on Elm Street. Like that's the only thing like I can that, like, where Freddy's, like, his arms are hanging out huge. That reminded me of that scene. But like this was like probably, in my opinion, probably the worst one on the entire. Like, it's probably the worst one in the entire, like, series.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I didn't really dig this one. It's very forgettable for me.
Yeah.
It is forgettable, but it's funny because it is memorable. Like, the scene where she's walking down, I think it's filler for the whole of the anthology. Mm-hmm. It's not a great short in itself, but it does fit in there.
It's like a super slow burn for, like, one jump scare.
But yeah, it did feel kind of like it was still in that town. This story just happened over on this street, kind of thing. So I still get that for the whole of the anthology, but as like a specific short, nah, it's pretty forgettable, man.
Let me ask
you
a question.
Total filler just for the anthology.
Was that Mick Garris at the Halloween party with the, like, Phantom mask?
Ah, fuck. You know what? Come to think of it, it could have been.
I think that's Mick Garris. There's a ton of fucking cameos in here.
I was gonna say the cameos are crazy in this movie.
Yeah, Adam Green was in The Night That Billy Raised Hell, as well as a few other ones.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I believe Adam Green was actually supposed to direct one of these if he wasn't so damn busy.
Mm-hmm. Adam Green's too busy making movies, right?
Making movies, TV shows, fucking podcasts.
Yeah, I'm looking for Austin season 3. Anyways, getting into short number 6, which is called Ding Dong, directed by Lucky McKee. Of course, we know who Lucky McKee is.
Woman, May All Cheerleaders Die.
Exactly.
Your favorite film, Moodz The Woman.
Yeah, The Woman. I know, right? Yeah, All Cheerleaders Die, I think I like more than The Woman. I know you would obviously disagree with that, but I'm not saying it's a better film. I'm just saying I like it more. So
I like this one a lot. I don't know.
This one was fun and weird. It was just such a weird Hansel and Gretel type.
What was it about?
I don't know. You can say it better than I can.
Okay, there's a woman and her husband who are spending Halloween night together, and they can't have babies, and the woman like gets really pissed about it, and she wants babies, and she has these spasms where she turns into like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like metaphorical or literal. Like a witch, and then she like hurts her husband.
It has to be literal. That's the only way it would make sense.
No. I think it's totally literal.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, so and then she decides this year, instead of ignoring all the happy children outside, they're gonna do trick or treating, and they're gonna answer the door and give them candy. And for some reason, she pushes her boobs up every time she answers the door for children. But I liked it. And you know, she gets to the point where it looks like she's gonna like steal a child, and her husband is obviously completely uncomfortable and thinks his wife is a complete loony. And I don't know, this one was just so weird to me. I don't really get it. I mean, I don't know if there's supposed to be like a message or like something deeper that I'm not getting, but I just thought it was interesting, so that's why I like that one.
I don't know.
I was kind of on the same level as that. It was like, there's got to be some type of deeper meaning to this, but I was like, I don't know exactly what they're getting at here, but it was entertaining though. You know,
this was one of my favorite ones, honestly.
This was actually one of my least favorite ones. I hated this fucking one. I remember watching this one and saying, this is fucking stupid. Like seeing her turn into that whatever she turned into, I was like, she looks like a fucking idiot. Like I just wanted to punch her in the fucking face when she turned into that bullshit. I was like, look at her fucking stupid nails. Look at her face. She's red. Oh, fuck. She's like every woman on the inside.
You know, it's kind of funny. This wasn't one of my favorite ones either, to be honest. It was weird and kind of entertaining, but at the same time, I was like, it wasn't.
I mean, it was entertaining, but it wasn't like I just didn't like it. I was just like, this is stupid.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next up.
Yeah, short number 7. This Means War, directed by Andrew Cash.
From Never Sleep Again. He directed Never Sleep Again.
Never Sleep Again, the documentary. Yes, my favorite documentary of all time. This one is simply about...
It's actually co-directed by John Skip as well.
That's right. This one's simply about, new neighbors move in next to this guy that's obviously been living on the block for 30 years, and he decorates his house the exact same way for the last 30 years. New neighbors move in, they like to party and shit, and he does not fucking like that one bit.
They're hardcore, you know, they're playing metal music and fucking blood and titties and stuff.
I mean, they're just being very disrespectful, really, to the neighborhood, because they're outdoors doing this party and stuff.
Are they really, anyways, though? Because he's doing his thing out there, in their front yard? And it seems like more people are interested in his party than people around here, dog.
Yeah,
man.
Not that crazy. Not that crazy. But
not my neighborhood, man.
I mean, it gets pretty. I've been to some pretty crazy ones. You know, like people kind of. As long as you're not doing it like every day, it's fucking Halloween, dude. Like if that happened here, nobody would care.
I get that.
Seriously,
dude,
nobody would care.
If that shit happened here, those people would be arrested for like noise complaints and like violations and shit.
Is your town made of pussy?
Pretty much. I live in fucking South Carolina. We can't even fly a Confederate flag, so what do you think?
Yeah. No, seriously, like, you can do that in places like this. Like, there's a lot of distance between, like, it's not, like, neighborhood, but, I mean, seriously. And, you know, there's a lot of cameos in this one, too. I know that a lot of those people have to be people. I know Sean Clark. I've seen Sean Clark.
I gotta say who's in this short. I gotta say who I noticed was in this short really quick. The guy that was across the street from the main guy, the main like bad guy, I guess you want to call him, with the skull face paint. Did you guys recognize who that was at all?
No, who?
I'm an 80s kid, so I had to recognize this guy. Have you guys seen the Three Ninjas?
Yeah, I've seen it, but
it's one of the bad guys from the Three Ninjas, one of the ones that like go into the house and like take those kids hostage. It's the one that like has the long ponytail hair, man. It was him, dude. I was like, I cannot believe that guy is in another movie. That's crazy. Like I saw him, I was like, I cannot believe it. Like I immediately spotted him, and I was so stoked on this whole short after I saw him. I was like, dude, this is so awesome. But
yeah. So the thing of this story though is like the one guy's been doing the same thing for 30 years. It's boring and bland.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares about it. and then this new crew moves in, and they just set up right away. Like, it almost feels like a sitcom or something because of the way that it happens, you know? And he's like, obviously he's mad because, but why is he mad? Really?
He's mad because like people are used to going over to his house and riding by his house and seeing all of his decorations he's had up for 30 years.
And they're all going
he's pissed about that. But he's also fucking pissed because the music is so fucking loud too. Because he goes directly and wrecks their music. He's like, turn the shit down. You know.
I think he's mad about the music because they're focusing on him. They're focusing on the other guy.
I mean, yeah, because everybody, you can see everybody's like, oh,
but it was
shit,
pretty
what's
fucking
this?
aggressive.
This is cool over here. And he's like a little butthurt. He's like, but everybody usually loves my stuff. You know, he's like the old man that can't adapt to the new ways. And they end up start fighting and stuff. I thought this one was all right. It was pretty entertaining, kind of basic, but it still had that Halloween atmosphere, so it was cool.
I actually enjoyed this one. I thought it was one of my top favorite ones. I don't know.
I thought it was decent. Again, it felt like complete filler to me. I don't know. It just felt like filler to me, but it was okay.
You can't say the ending to this one was bad, though. I mean, it was like pretty awesome, though. Like how it ended up, like what ended up.
They all end. They're like all comedy.
It's comedy, but like this one was like.
Oh no, the ending was funny.
Yes, you know what I mean. At the same time, like something really bad happened, but at the same time, it was kind of they made it like a comedy around it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was
the ending was funny. It was okay. Short number 8, Friday the 31st, directed by Mike Menendez.
From Big Ass Spider.
From Big Ass Spider. This one right here was just, what the fuck, man?
This was definitely one of my favorites, just because of its creativity.
Me too, man. I thought the whole, it basically plays out like a typical type slasher film.
Not typical slasher, literally Jason. Like that character is mimicked after Jason. It's exactly. If you took a slasher film and the final chase scene, the final girl where she escapes into the barn and then she sees the bodies of all of her dead friends, and then like that ending, that is this, but with a twist of aliens.
This was like Friday the 13th meets X-Files. That's exactly what it was.
It's basically if all of a sudden the final girl turned into the antagonist and Jason was all of a sudden like the final girl. And he's like, he then runs and he goes into the bar and he's all like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, yeah, man. It was crazy. It was just out there, ridiculous.
This one was so ridiculously over the top, though. The whole fight scene between, I guess the Dorothy character, the alien character, whatever, and Jason was fucking funny, dude. I was pissing myself, man. Yeah. It was just like limb for limb and blood, and this was by far the goriest out of all the shorts.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But I love the effects on the little alien too, man. I think it was like
claymation.
I want to say it was claymation for sure.
Yeah,
I was watching on my laptop, but the claymation was fantastic, and
that
I love that
fucking
effect.
Cute, man.
It was, man. Twicker tweet.
Yeah, he was annoying as shit.
And Jason's like, I don't know.
Yeah, man. But I just like how it's such an interesting premise, though. I really enjoyed this, man. I thought it was one of them.
If I was to sum this like one up, I would say Friday the 13th meets the X-Files that meets Poltergeist. Like it's like all those combined.
That meets like, comedy.
Yeah,
well, obviously. I mean, I think all these are comedy, but
I just love the arms that are flying and like the fucking leg.
Dude, the death scenes in this are like so awesome. Like it's so gory.
Yeah, it was cool. I like so this gory. One. This one. That one's probably was actually one of my favorites. Second favorite.
This was my second favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up.
Short number 9, The Ransom of Rusty Rex, directed by Ryan Schifrin.
I'll actually talk about this plot if that's cool, because this was actually my favorite one out of all of them.
Yeah, go ahead. I like this one too, actually.
So basically, this one was about these two guys who were trying to capture a kid during Halloween while kids are out trick-or-treating to hold this kid for ransom, or hold a kid for ransom. They end up catching this kid. They bag him, put him in the back of their van, show up at some, I guess their goon squad house or wherever it is, like a warehouse, and they call the kid has a mask on the whole time, so you don't see him at first. They call the kid's dad, and who they think it's his dad, call him and try to offer this guy a ransom, saying, hey, I got your kid. It's going to be like what I think it was like $2 or $3 million they asked for. It was a lot of money. And the guy's like, you can pretty much have him. So this kid ends up being like,
which is John Landis.
Yeah, which is John Landis, and this kid ends up being like a what would you call this kid? Like, I don't know what the fuck this thing is. Like a fucking like, I don't know. This kid's like a fucked up like creature, and anytime these robbers try to get rid of the kid, he ends up immediately like showing up wherever they're at. Like they burn him. They pretty much do everything to this thing, and he ends up showing up. And one of the actual ransom people, I don't know if you guys noticed, was do you guys watch The Walking Dead at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
The one ransom guy was from The Walking Dead. He was the governor's like right-hand man when the governor.
Oh, that's where he was from. I couldn't even think of where he was from. I was watching it.
He's been on other. I think he was on Breaking Bad too. But he's he's actually, I've seen him in a lot of things. But he's like a Mexican guy. But this one was awesome, just like JP. Very awesome. This was definitely my favorite short out of all of them. So,
not my favorite. I thought it was kind of middle of the pack, to be honest.
I like the premise. I just love John Landis. He's like, no, man, you can keep him, and he just hangs up. And
it's so John Landis. Like, John
what
Landis is definitely the highlight for me. Like, that just reminds me of John Landis.
I just thought I thought it was funny as fuck.
Can you believe he just hung up on me?
Argento, why does he have such a big cock?
And it's like, I love the guy's response. He's like, what do I do? He just hung up on me. He's like, phone him back, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess.
I'm pretty sure he didn't say phone him back.
What else do you do when you're looking for ransom? I'm like, I guess I gotta phone him back, right?
Call him back.
Fuck, that's funny.
Yeah, call him back.
Yeah. Call him back.
Yeah. So there's one left. It's Bad Seed. Moodz. What's up with this one? Directed by Neil Marshall.
Directed by Neil Marshall.
Of course, The Descent and also Dog Soldiers, I believe. Right?
Yeah. Soldiers. Yeah, you bet. Basically, this one right here is like, it's kind of strange, man. This dude gets basically decapitated by a pumpkin, like an alien pumpkin in a way.
Bites his fucking head off.
Fucking annihilates him, man. Anyways, it starts a huge police investigation, and that's pretty much what it is. They're investigating the murder of this guy.
Yeah, but it's played kind of straight-faced, which makes it funny.
But I have to say, man, the fucking the suspect drawing, I literally started laughing out loud, man. They're like, yeah, and it looks like this, and it's just a fucking pumpkin with arms.
Dude, that shit was funny as fuck, dude.
Fucking so funny, dude. I was pissing myself, man. I was like, oh, dude, that's good.
This was my favorite.
I did like, though, because I think there's a few moments in this where, it kind of incorporates like a couple of the other shorts and stuff, and it just kind of felt like, this is what it is. Like it's in this town, and this shit always seems to fucking happen. I don't know. I think they ended it kind of good with like the police investigation, and this town is always fucking batshit crazy. This shit happens, and I kind of like that. I liked how it ended too and stuff. So
I don't know if you get this vibe or not, but I totally got like a Halloween 3 vibe from it. Like, I felt like it was trying to either pay homage or like kind of just showcase that, like with the factory kind of reminded me of like the Silver Shamrock factory and stuff. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Yeah, maybe. I never thought of it until you mentioned it now, but honestly, I loved that scene right there.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great, man. I really liked the way this ended. So, but I never thought of it until you said that, though.
Yeah, and even the ending of Halloween 3, right? I mean, it's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this was definitely my favorite one. It's kind of a mixed bag, and it's really hard to talk about these guys. Like, this isn't the best film to like review in like this format because they are so short. It's like reviewing ABCs of Death.
Yeah,
I like that one, didn't like that one, like that one. Oh, that one was cool. Like, you can't really say much, but we tried, and I'm curious, like, overall how you guys felt.
Like, overall, man, I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not, I like the idea of interwoven stories and stuff having relatable things.
They're not that interwoven though.
There isn't, but there's there is just continuity through the shorts. Obviously, the connector with the continuity is like the fucking Night of the Living Dead, movie playing in certain shorts and stuff like that.
Policemen will, like Adam Green's in this short, and he's a policeman in this short too. Yeah.
Yeah, things
feel
like that.
They're all taking place in the same like town, maybe, or same city.
No, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So
no, they are like, it's all in the same city. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really get that vibe that everything's actually happening in that city.
Yeah, it does.
For the most part, like you said, except for maybe Week in the Wicked. Week in the Wicked, I think it just kind of felt like it disconnected itself a little bit, and maybe it was in the bad part of town. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
that's kind of what I said, right? I was like, it seems like this takes place in like the like furthest part of town away, like just the part that's like dilapidated. But nobody goes to.
But even with that said, though, it still does feel on the outskirts.
Yeah.
So, but I think the overall feel of this was really well done. I think every short felt like Halloween. It just bona fide Halloween feel. A lot of good atmosphere. Some good laughs. I didn't feel like at any time where I was like, man, that's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Even though the Friday the 31st one was probably the most over the top, which is, I think, my favorite short. The alien slasher one, because it's just, I like that, man. Slashers and aliens and just lots of gore, and everything about that one just came together for me. But overall, it was really enjoyable, and I can't wait to revisit this like on my big screen
and not with a million watermarks on it.
The fucking the 22 shots of Moodz and Horror fucking gmail.com.
I know. I was like, what the fuck?
Now, don't you wish we picked a smaller name?
It took me the
right?
fucking
first
couple
name
shorts.
I was like,
I must have read that thing 20 fucking times. I was like, oh my god, I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, that's why I picked a small
now it made me realize how much I hate screeners, but anyways, this was actually really enjoyable overall. Awesome stuff, man. One of the better Halloween anthologies seen in a long time. So
what would you rate it?
Man, if I had to rate this film, I actually rated this one. I actually rated it really high. I had a really, really good time with this. Like I said, there was some filler, but I did explain that, the shorts weren't the greatest, but it still felt part of the film. It felt up. It just kind of added to the whole film and stuff. But I'm going to give it an 8.5. I thought it was fantastic. It was fantastic all around.
What about you, Kyle?
I really liked it a lot. I'm pretty much with Moodz on everything he said. I mean, I had a blast with this movie. I mean, I thought it was fun. It was up there with Trick or Treat. I mean, it was probably on par with Trick or Treat, honestly. I mean, I had just as much of a blast with this. I had just as much of a blast with this film as I did with that film. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, they're anthology films. I mean, of course they're going to be different. So I don't know. I had fun with it. Probably my favorite short would be the Ransom of Rusty Rex, but I also enjoyed the Friday the 31st. They would probably be about the same, on the same level. I would probably give this about a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I'll revisit it every Halloween probably, or as many as I can. It's one of those ones you can just throw on, and you can even put this movie on during a party and just let it play through, and people will probably, run into it and be like, oh, whoa, what's going on here with this? So I don't know. It's pretty solid movie, I felt. I mean, all the directors are really good, so not bad.
Yeah, so me personally, I'm definitely a little more lukewarm on this one than them. I honestly liked some things, but I didn't like a lot of things. And I feel like it's kind of messy. I feel like the time constraint really bugged me, because nothing was properly developed. It was too many shorts. They were too short to really kind of create each story. Like, I really felt that way. Some I liked more than others. Like I said, the pumpkin one was really cool. I liked the Friday the 19th or the 31st or whatever. But honestly, I would not rate one. I would not rate one of these over a 7. Not one single short would I rate over a 7. And I love the atmosphere. That's the best thing about this entire film, is the atmosphere. They really do create a Halloween atmosphere in every one of the shorts. So that is a huge positive. all of them are comedic. There's not really any serious moments. I was kind of expecting something different as well. I was expecting this more classic like Halloween tales, and it felt like every director was like, "Oh, I'm going to make the weird one." Like every one of the directors had that idea, and nobody it's probably like everybody was like, I'm gonna make the like oddball one, but everybody had that idea, so they all ended up being the oddball one, and I didn't really like that about it. I was looking for like a fair mixture of things, and they were all played for comedic effect. They were all, I guarantee these people had fun with it, and it bleeds through the film as well. The people who made the film, I guarantee they had a blast. They were all friends, having fun, making films and stuff, these fun things. But to me, as a movie as a whole, I can't come in very high on it. I think, as Kyle said, it would play very well in a Halloween party, but that's the best way I think it'll play. And I give it a 6 out of 10, a generous 6 out of 10, because I barely would rate any of the individual shorts above a 6 out of 10. So 6 out of 10. This is coming to us courtesy of Epic Pictures, by the way. They loved it. I thought it was all right. It was decent, but nothing super amazing. Trick or Treat is a million times better than this.
Yeah, I guess I just saw it different. I had a lot of fun with this, man. A lot of fun.
I had a blast with it.
I had
do
very
agree.
high hopes for it.
I do agree that there was certain things in the film I felt like you couldn't tell if they were like, happening before the other shorts and things. I mean, obviously the ones where
I think a little more structure would have made it a little more like.
Yeah, I thought about the time constraints and you could kind of see it with I think it was with The Night of the Living Dead was playing, because there's a scene that's later in the film that happened before. Yeah, so they show a scene where the zombies are starting to attack the house, and then there's a short that's after. That is actually the graveyard scene.
Yeah, so they did that in Trick or Treat though too, where you're seeing a scene, but then you'll see it later. They did that in Trick or Treat. It's like a real messy timeline, but it makes sense
kind of
still.
I know it is, but then it kind of gets you thinking: is like, okay, is this night progressing or is this going backwards? Yeah. Because theoretically, that's going backwards. Because if you're getting later in the anthology and you're seeing earlier Night of the Living Dead scenes, you're going backwards. So,
or you're just hopping around.
Exactly, but you don't know. Right? So it does get you thinking. So it is a question.
Was there let me ask you guys a question. Was there any story that really blew you away? Like, were you like, man, that was a great story? Like, there was none of those for me. None of them was like, wow, that was good.
There wasn't, but I don't think that they were going for that.
I think of other anthologies, right? VHS too. There's one segment that just blows you away. There's none of that. They're all okay. They're all decent.
I think maybe it didn't blow you away because it's been done before. I mean, anthologies have been done before, and the ones you've seen already, you kind of saw those things happen for the first time. And a lot of these shorts have already happened. I mean, they've already shown some of these in other movies, so maybe that's the reason why you're not blown away with it. But I don't know. I mean, at the same time, I just feel like this movie.
I think there's a lot of room for improvement in anthologies, though. Like, I mean,
yeah.
What I see with anthologies is that there's just nothing but room for whatever. Like, you can just explore so much in anthologies, and I don't know, man. I kind of rated it as an overall product. Like, nothing, floored me with the individual shorts and stuff, but like as an overall product, I kind of dwelled on it for a little bit, and I was like, man, I really, really fucking enjoyed that. But like when it comes to visuals and atmosphere and things like that, those are the things that I really see in films, and like music, and those are the type of things, and then everything else kind of thing. You can have films with simple premises that are fucking awesome as long as they're executed well. Like I said with Lost After Dark, it's like that. It's the setup is very typical, but it's meant to be an 80s throwback. So, but when they're done properly, they're done properly. So, I don't know. I felt, but yeah, there is definitely problems. It's not a perfect film or anything.
Do you agree that you think if maybe there was 7 shorts or 6 shorts, do you think that they would have had better time, more time to flesh them out and make it more of a fun story? I honestly think that. So many.
I 100% think it was a little too much for sure. Yeah.
The reason I agree with that is because I watched that.
I thought 2 or 3 of them were complete filler.
Yeah, exactly. You take 2 or 3 of those out, you expand on the ones that we like.
the one with Lin Shaye, like I really like the opening of that short where she's telling the story, but then everything else that happens, and then the jump scare ended. I was like, well,
I love Lin Shaye.
Okay, and then it's just done, and I'm like, fuck. I mean, okay, really?
That movie that I was talking about earlier, Horror Stories, that's an anthology movie, and there was 4 instead of like the 10 that we have here, and they were 30 minutes apiece, and they actually felt, when you watch them, they feel like a movie almost, because they're a lot longer than these. I mean, they're a little bit more than 30 apiece. They're like, because that movie was like 2 hours long, and there was not much intro to the movie, so it was like almost like 30-40 minutes apiece per short, and I felt like that was, I could see where you're coming from with that. Like, there wasn't enough time to expand on each story. It was just kind of cut and dry, straight to the point.
But what you said earlier too, Kyle, about like anthologies have been done before and stuff. I had literally just watched an anthology that I don't even think is out yet. It might have just came out, and that's A Christmas Horror Story. And I like that one much better than this one. And, those stories had been done kind of before. I've seen some of those stories done before. So that's not really like an appropriate excuse. I do want to like this one so much, dude. This was my like number one, and that could be part of my frustration with this one too. Like, you guys know, and I've talked about this one since it was announced. I got the first press release for it. I followed it through its post-production release. And I just was, I don't know if I was expecting something different, but I just was not impressed with a lot of the segments. And it stings a little bit too, because I was hoping this would be like my Trick or Treat, because Trick or Treat's like literally one of my favorite horror films. Like, I was like, we got a new Trick or Treat. But positive note, this film is receiving a lot of positive reviews from what I understand. I've seen some sites give it like a 2.5 out of 5 and stuff, but the festivals, it seems to be doing real well. And I think that goes to what Kyle said about playing with an audience. So it's getting a lot of positive reviews out of festivals, but you think it's in a theater, there's a lot of people watching it together. I watched this sitting at home by myself, with my dog. So I do think that with an audience, this could be a completely more entertaining watch.
I agree with that 100%, because that, like I was saying, with the putting it on during a party, during Halloween, I think if you're there with a bunch of people and you end up picking it up while other people are watching it, I think the experience would be a lot different. Obviously, we're sitting there watching it. I'm watching it on the computer with a watermark on it. I mean, I'm not getting a full experience. I mean, it's just
fuck. That thing is so hard to get over, man.
There's 2 giant watermarks on it. Fucking. Listen,
awful.
Guys, for those of you who don't know,
I'm watching on my fucking laptop too. I'm like,
for those of you who don't know out there listening, there is literally a watermark across the center of the screen that says 22 shots of moodsandhorror@gmail.com. And because our name is so fucking long, it fits across the entire screen.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But it happens. I don't know. It just, I think, like, you're right about like the whole experience thing. I think with this, it may have been, I mean, I agree with you. It's not a perfect movie. There's nothing that jumped out at me with this movie. There was a couple of shorts that I did like a lot, like the Rusty Rex one on the Friday the 31st, but it wasn't like
the 19th.
Yeah, the 19th.
No, it's not. It's not the 19th.
I was gonna say, where the fuck did you get 19 from?
That's
anyways,
like a random
Friday the 19th.
Yeah.
JP thinking about them 19-year-olds. Jeez.
That's legal.
Oh, there it is.
I believe you dropped the thing about she had the fucking body of a 16-year-old earlier, so I wouldn't even talk.
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Like, I still think people should check it out.
Yeah, I kind of what I would say to somebody that's about to check this out personally is, like we were talking about earlier with the remake movies, I would say kind of go into this, just considering it, going into it like it is what it is kind of deal. Don't go into it like expecting anything. Like, we're talking about remakes. Yeah, well, we're talking about remakes earlier. We're saying, you guys were telling me, you don't go into it expecting, anything from the previous movies. But I think that is, well, I'm not saying you did, JP, but I'm just saying, like, don't go into the movie expecting to get anything out of it. I mean, this is a comedy, honestly. I mean, it's like a comedy horror. Like, I mean, it's nothing serious whatsoever. So, I don't know. That's my take on it. That's my last words.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely more of a comedy. So that is going to conclude episode 58 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. Kyle, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show. You were awesome once again.
Yeah.
And did this one feel as long as the Children of the Corn show?
It did not feel as long, but it's 4:00 in the morning where I'm at, so it's very tiring.
We've been on here for 4 hours. So yeah, but once again, buddy, awesome job, and you're welcome back anytime. So JP, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah, man, absolutely, Kyle, thanks for coming on. You guys can definitely check out Kyle on his channel, The Horror File. Sub him up, give him a sub, check out his videos. Good dude, good stuff. You can always leave us a voicemail at the voicemail line, which is 724-426-6665. Follow us on Twitter, 22 Shots Podcast. Email 22shotsofmoodsandhorror@gmail.com. All the other places. The Facebook group is the best place to get in contact with us. Type in 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror in Facebook, and it'll do the rest. Of course, the website, 22shotsofmoodsandhorror.com. And of course, our channels, Moodz616, Double Shot J. That's it, guys. See you later. I'm JP. That's Moodz. That's Kyle. And we're done. We're through. We're out.